We were a mixed bag. We were a nightclub for a second.
That's right. It was hidden in a tab in one of the Chrome windows that's not mine. Thanks a heap.
I could see that look, and I just had to laugh. Like, look at that. It said, I don't know how to stop Black Sabbath from being played. What do I do?
Well, I'm looking at the bottom of the computer for all the possible open programs. And sometimes we've had that happen where somebody left the Spotify going, or Greg's Spotify it's being used, but our computer is the speaker.
Right.
I've seen that before, but there is no Spotify. I'm looking at all these other windows. Nothing obvious presents itself. So I had to go into Google Chrome and see that it was hidden in one tab. Apparently there was a different radio station being played. So there you go.
Ken the Carver sent us something here that right off the bat, I have to start with the show this way. Here, how great is this? He has carved the Cat 5 maintain, got the date. There it is.
Oh, wow.
The speakers to go with the Jeff Cameron show. Obviously the spear into the ibis.
Way to go, Ken the Carver.
And he's got the date, October 4th, 2025.
Oh, the note's on the back of that.
Yeah,
there it is.
Little note there. Good Knowles. Enjoy the week, gentlemen. Appreciate you, Ken. That's good work out of you yet again. That's all you do is great work. And your kindness is always appreciated. Yeah, I'll have to put that up somewhere, especially if we end up winning this game. And why don't we start there? Well, hey, how about this? Why don't I first say that I appreciate you listening on 93.3 FM, Real Talk Radio. You're supporting the only locally owned and operated radio station in town. And then I'll also add that if you're watching on Warchant TV, you're supporting local as well. And we really appreciate that. Thanks for watching on YouTube. And thanks for downloading this if you're listening later on, wherever it is you get podcasts. We appreciate that too. It's a big week, and we're in the midway point of it. Here we go. It is the 1st of October. It is time to get it on. Florida State, Miami. And unbeknownst to me, Tom was on a mission to deep dive Miami. I'm sure maybe for a piece that you're going to write. I'm not sure.
A film bender, so to speak.
But I was doing the same thing for two different reasons. But I've had a good feeling this week. I woke up on Monday feeling good about the game. And usually that doesn't come from nothing. There's usually something in my brain that I haven't tapped into yet that is telling me to look deeper into something. It's like that gnawing feeling you get when you can't sleep, which is a whole nother thing because it's been a week. But where your mind's telling you, hey man, you really need to call so-and-so. You really need to talk to this person. And the person you hadn't maybe even thought about in 6 months or a year. And all of a sudden you're like, I really feel like I should call so-and-so. If it happens more than once that week, you are going to make that call because your conscience would never forgive yourself if something happened or that person was in need and you didn't make the call. The same thing happens to me when I get a weird feeling out of nowhere about a big game in which we're an underdog, and we're coming off a loss. But I'm mad about the loss. Nobody likes losing. Sucks we lost that game. Kind of got ourselves behind the 8 ball early in that game, and then really you had some opportunities to put the stranglehold on that game, and you didn't do it, and you lose it, and you learn from it, you hope. And there's some things that are exposed in that game that you worry about, but some other things you kind of dismiss. You say, well, them's the bounces. Got a little unlucky here. Guy makes a great play. They put pressure, tips the ball up. It goes right back to him. Okay. That's not going to happen too often. Normally, that's just an incomplete pass, and it's 2nd and goal from the 5. Instead, it's a momentum shifting and turning into points later, 2-score game. The tipped pass where Jerry's got a beat on it, he's gonna pick it off, and instead he lunges, doesn't keep his feet, tips the ball up in the air. Of course, it goes right to Harris, and who then in turn gains 30-something yards because you're trying to strip out of desperation, and that now they're in business at your 25. Just a few plays here and there where you go, damn, that hurts. Missed field goal, that hurts. These kinds of things. But I was able to move on from that loss. It may be part and parcel to the modern day college football landscape where a loss doesn't doom you at all. It's not ideal. It does put you up against it, but it doesn't doom you the way it used to. Now it's kind of like, all right, well, you just removed that margin for error that you had by beating Alabama. Now, now you can't do that again. You kind of gave it away, but you had earned that giveaway by beating Alabama. And Alabama's gone on to have, so far, success post that game. So that's no longer one of those things where people throw out the caveat, well, how good's Alabama? I don't know. They went on the road and beat Georgia. They can't be terrible. I mean, they're not, it may not be a vintage Alabama team, but they're not terrible. And we are at the stage of the season, still relatively young in the season, where we're still asking a lot of questions about a lot of teams. And that includes asking questions about our own team, but we're also asking questions about Miami. Now, I don't say that to deconstruct their wins and belittle their successes. I'm not looking at Miami's resume and saying, hey, everybody, Miami's suspect. I'm saying most college football teams are suspect in one way, shape, or form. Even the ones that are winning now. Like, I think Oregon's good, especially at quarterback, and they really trust him. And that was the difference in the game against Penn State. They don't trust Aller nearly as much as Oregon trusts their quarterback, which is a problem for Penn State. But they can have that conversation on the Penn State airwaves. I'm gonna just talk about the suspect nature of most of these teams now that lack the depth that the power teams used to have. Because you can't keep people on your roster anymore if they're really, really good and they're not playing. They leave. And so everybody is a little susceptible, some more than others, obviously. So I do wonder, what's Miami going to do the first time they're on the road? Their very first road game of the year is this place at 7:30 at night with a team coming off a loss that will be playing as desperate as you saw them play against Alabama. They had a message to send against Alabama. Clearly, Florida State came out in that game pissed off at the set of circumstances that beset them after the snub that went on to in some way contribute, not completely because you can't absolve responsibility, 2-10. Pissed off that the entire offseason was spent being, in many ways, not just besmirched, but dismissed as preseason number 7 in the ACC in some polls, number 6 in the ACC. Pissed off because a lot of guys were transfers with one more chance to prove something. Pissed off that, nobody thought, including Vegas, given that spread, that you were going to compete, let alone upset Alabama. And they played as the more physical team, the more angry team, and of course was aided greatly, I thought, by an incredible home atmosphere. What do you think this atmosphere is going to be? I mean, sweet Jesus, this is going to be as good an atmosphere at Doak as we've seen in a long time. It'll be better than the Alabama game because it's a night game. These folks are going to be blitzed, liquored up, on the edge, on the verge of crossing over said edge. I've had to issue the Cat 5 weeks in advance because we know what's coming. It's going to be a frenzy. And college kids are subject to the whims of emotion in a way that pro players are not. Even veteran college kids can look befuddled, can seem out of sorts when something goes awry early in a game and the home team takes the advantage of the situation and the crowd is worked into said frenzy, and now the noise is deafening and you're having to operate on a silent count and you're not comfortable. And at this point, the game changes. Now, back to my original point. As the week has gone on, I've felt better and better about the game. And that voice that woke me up in the middle of the night and said, I feel pretty good about this game. It happened again on a Tuesday. And then I thought, well, we need to figure out why. Why do we feel good about this game? And so I, too, Tom, began to delve into Miami's games this year, as well as looking back at our games. And I thought to myself, this could, and this is where it gets interesting, this could set up really nicely for Florida State, meaning the way that Miami wants to attack is something that I think, oddly, Florida State will handle better or has a chance to handle better than they did against Virginia. Virginia had a quarterback that not just could run, was a willing runner, was a problem, was a guy that you had to be wary of. I suspect Florida State's defensive game plan had something to do with taking into account said mobile veteran quarterback who would run and likes to run and can run. You don't have that threat with Carson Beck in this game. He is not looking to run. He doesn't want to run. And when he runs, he's not extremely dangerous. He's not a statue, but he's not extremely dangerous. It's a different set of problems to deal with. He's a better passer than the previous quarterback, and if he's given time, he'll pick you apart. He, too, is a veteran. He has seen everything. He's been in hostile atmospheres throughout the SEC. He's played in big, big games. He won't be as easily rattled, but what about all those other guys playing on the road for the first time in their careers, or the first time as this collective in a game of this magnitude? Not all those guys is as savvy and veteran as Carson Beck is. In addition, if the equation is to stop a downhill rushing attack, you get back and you are certainly aided by yet another very big man, and one that doesn't have to play 70 plays to be effective. He's a guy that, Kevin Wynn, that can help clog the middle and help Darrell Jackson not have to carry the load for the entirety of the game on his own. You now get another big man who has strength and plays with leverage and is said by the coaches, all of them, and some players that we've talked to, including me in Charlotte, to Darrell Jackson, can really play for a young guy. He's a lot stronger than most young guys. Okay, good. Good to get him back just in time, because I think we're going to need to stop that rushing attack. What happens if you take it away? Well, you saw what happened after the first drive of the game against Alabama, when they really couldn't effectively run the ball. At that point, not with any degree of consistency, at that point, Tony White was free to kind of do what he wants to do, which is to try and confuse, bring pressure from a lot of different areas on the field, from a lot of different places and people, run his stunts, all those games that he runs up front, all the twists and the turns and the pressure coming from different places. He was free to do that because Alabama couldn't just line up and run the ball. They often found themselves in a less than advantageous position on second and third down. Now, you benefited from the fact that Simpson was playing in his first game as a quarterback, first real game as a starting quarterback. You benefited from the fact that he looked confused and was a tick off, a little late on a lot of throws that Florida State was able to make a play on. And we can theorize that it might go different if you were to play Alabama again. Maybe it would. I don't know. We don't have to know. But I would also add that some of that confusion and some of the intensity and some of the wandering eye, some of the problems that he ended up having where he missed opportunities had to do with atmosphere, had to do with being shook, had to do with the home crowd, had to do with the noise, had to do with an element of the offense being shut down and becoming predictable. Can Florida State make Miami predictable? Well, if they can stop the run, they can. And if they stop the run, you're taking away what Mario Cristobal wants to do. Now, this guy may be more equipped than most to handle that, but I trust my corners right now. And that's the other part. And I think you look this up too. When you watch Wilson and Rawls play, especially Wilson and Rawls, those two, you see two guys that I think you can trust. And I'm going to put a lot of pressure on them in my game plan. In my game plan, we'll see what Tony does. In my game plan, I'm saying to Jabril and Jerry, have yourself a day, boys. I'm going to trust you. You may be on an island. A lot. Miami's receivers aren't bad receivers. They're also not uniquely gifted. They're not the threat that we've seen before. I mean, I think we were more worried about Alabama's receivers than we are Miami's receivers, to say the least.
I think you're facing something similar here with Miami in that Tony is Ryan Williams-esque in terms of his speed. And then the second guy, Daniels, is a little bit more stocky, possession-ish, excuse me.
Yeah.
which is what hurt us a little bit more in the Alabama game.
It did.
The guy that I'm more afraid of than anything, and he hasn't racked up a ton of production yet, but you see him a lot in the Florida game, is Lofton, the tight end. That would be the guy that concerns me more. I think they'll probably, if they take your tack, 3 sets of eyes for those 2 receivers, and a little shade of safety one way or the other, but it's not necessarily straight up zone.
Right.
If they decide to do that and try to take away the run. Yeah, you could see that. Prove it to me, Carson, that your arm is still healthy a month into the season as well. Because against Florida, a couple of those throws are a tick behind you going, well, if he rifles that in there, the interception he threw in the second half, if he rifles that in there,
yeah,
that's a big play as he climbs the pocket and fires. But you look at it, you go, man, that came out a little dead.
He's thrown 3 picks this year.
Yeah.
I mean, I again, there's a path. I think what I'm getting at here, I'm not telling you that Florida State is going to win this game, but I don't have to really reach to find the path for them to win this game. In fact, some of what Tom and I were discussing before the show started was that, oddly, we could see in write-up scenarios, when you try to explain the game, meaning I do this every week when I make my wagers for Redemption Thursday or any wager that I make. I try to, speaking of paths, what's the path to this number? How does this prop bet that I have on a receiver happen? Well, here's how it happens. So-and-so's got the worst zone defense in all the NFL, and they run exclusively zone, and they're facing an offense that has the best numbers in the league against the zone. So I'm going to say over 4.5 catches for this particular receiver because on this against this look, they're going to target him 7 to 8 times. And then you jot it down. That's one of your bets. But you've done your research. It may not happen. It's gambling. Somebody may make a play on the ball. He could drop 2 passes. Next thing you know, you're screwed. You get 4. It happens. But the reason for that made some sense to you. You were trying to tell the story of the game. You were trying to explain the game. When you explain the game, Florida State, Miami, there's a very easy scenario to paint the picture in which Miami beats Florida State soundly, covers the spread and wins the game, and solidifies their spot as a top 3 team in the country. There's a path where you see that Miami wins the game, but it comes down to a last-second field goal. The 2 teams trade heavyweight blows, and it's a great game. It's an all-time classic, and Miami squeaks by, doesn't cover, beats you by 3. There's a path that you say Florida State rises to the occasion, does a good enough job being physical enough, responding after the Virginia game, understanding you got to get guys to the ground, which leads to a lot of pressure packages where Miami's behind the chains, and you do enough, and you're able to get enough stops, and you win the game late, you make a kick, you put together a late drive, you win the game narrowly, and your season and playoff hopes and dreams are still alive. And there's yet still another scenario where Florida State could win the game big. And that's the one that most people would raise an eyebrow at. Would go, what? How's that going to happen? Well, in the same way that it happened against Alabama, and we didn't think that Florida State was going to win that game big. And I say 2 touchdowns when you're a 2-touchdown underdog is pretty big.
It could have been 3. They, that last drive is ball control, but they were moving. And they decided, all right, no mas, we're done.
So, and again, we could go through those scenarios, and it will be fun to do it. I do think it involves all of the scenarios that have Florida State winning is the one that stops Miami from coming straight at you in the run game. And, do you have enough size? Do you have enough strength? And do you have enough depth in the interior of the defensive line to handle the double teams that Miami's going to throw at you when they run duo, and they do it a lot? And can you hold up? Will guys be able to hang in there long enough? Of course, these are all situational things that happen where you dictate terms. You get up 14-0, they're going to have to come out of some of what they want to do. And now it's a free-for-all. Now you're bringing pressures from all over. Now you're painting that picture that is the one that seems least likely to happen. Now you're pressuring him into turnovers. You're getting him off platform and the game changes.
The things I've looked at is the other side of the ball. I've got pages of notes on Miami's defense and what they've done so far. And I could see.
Save it.
Yeah. Well,
because I'm going to ask a question about it.
It's the same thing the other way is my point very briefly, but I can tell you why.
Well, but I'm going to ask you a pointed question about Miami's defense when it comes to the scenario. And I know you've got pages of notes, so let's have the conversation, because I was thinking about the path for Florida State's offense. So I'm going to take your information from Miami's defense, and we're going to go and clash and see how this works. Jeff Cameron, Show 93.3, Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Here's the cold, hard truth. Your body needs more than you're giving it to stay healthy. And now it's easier than ever with Vigor, the all-new cold plunge tub from Hot Spring Spas. Available only at Pitch a Penny Pools and Spas in Tallahassee. Cold plunges reduce muscle soreness, boost mood, improve sleep, and so much more. It's not just a trend, it's science-backed wellness. And now you can have it in your own home. Ready to feel alive again? Pinch a Penny has the exclusive home use solution. Visit us on Capitol Circle Northeast and take the plunge.
Go custom with your window coverings with help from Budget Blinds of Tallahassee. Budget Blinds brings their showroom to your home with dozens of color and pattern choices. Just tell them what you love and they'll make it happen. From designing custom draperies and Roman shades to color matching your blinds and shutters.
I'm Gary, the local owner of Budget Blinds Tallahassee, where you get beautiful style and expert service for any budget. Call 668-4835 for a free consultation online at budgetblinds.com/Tallahassee.
Craving something different? Discover the bold and surprising flavors of Peru at Café de Martín. From sizzling lomo saltado to savory handmade empanadas, every dish is made with heart, history, and soul. Crafted by classically trained Chef Martín himself. It's not just food. It's a trip to Peru without the plane ticket. Swing by Café de Martín today and taste the tradition. Café de Martín, authentic Peruvian, right around the corner.
Hey, everybody, it's Ed Dean along with Roger Henderson, also with FloridaDaily.com. Just want to remind you, daily 4 to 6 in the afternoons right here in Tallahassee on Real Talk 93.3 FM. Roger, it is literally the 2 fastest hours anywhere in afternoon talk radio.
And if you think the country's going crazy, we'll help you make sense of it all.
Oh, yeah, we'll try to make some sense of it. Again, Monday through Friday in the afternoons, Ed Dean, Roger Henderson on 93.3.
Water is your home's worst enemy. It finds cracks, soft spots, and weaknesses. But not on our watch. At Gutter Solutions and Waterproofing, we're veteran-owned and built different, driven by detail and the pursuit of excellence. We install seamless gutters, underground drainage, and waterproofing systems that don't fail. Because when you live with discipline, water doesn't stand a chance. Gutter Solutions and Waterproofing. Visit guttersolutions.net. With us, it's personal. A roof isn't decoration. It's your home's first line of defense. At GSWP Roofing, we treat every build like it's mission critical. We're GAF Master Elite certified, led by a former Marine. And we don't cut corners. We execute with discipline, precision, and materials that hold the line. Storm after storm, year after year. Repairs, replacements, full installs. This is roofing done by the book. No excuses, no shortcuts. GSWP Roofing. Online at gswproofing.com. With us, you're covered.
License number CCC 1335048.
It's where you raise your kids, where friends become family, where every corner has a story worth telling. It's your neighborhood. At ABC 27, we share those stories, bringing you news that connects communities, builds pride, and reminds us we're part of something bigger.
Production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
So, Tom, if I'm going to rely on Florida State's offense to have a big day, I know that one of the ways that they have to do it is tempo. This is this is where Gus can make things happen. You cannot play a methodical game against Miami. You're playing into their hands. Miami does not play at a high rate of speed on either side. They want their defense to be exposed somewhere between 55 to 65 plays a game. Currently, I think it's 59 per game. Now, they aid that by playing relatively slow themselves on offense. So this is a methodical group. They want to physically beat you up. They got 2 big lines of scrimmage, and they want to wear on you.
And there is a drop-off significantly in their front 6 as they rotate guys in and out. You notice a difference almost immediately. So, yeah, to your point, I think they want their best out there for 50-plus plays.
Yeah, and contrast that, for example, Tom, in regulation before we got to overtime. Virginia ran 84 plays on us.
Yeah.
Part of Florida State's problem in the Virginia game was they were out there so much. They couldn't get off the field on third down. And in particular, they got – and this is the part where you just kudos to Virginia. And you cast a disparaging look towards the defense for Florida State. Not that they can't learn from it. You can't have a 12-play drive in which they feature 11 runs. And you can't have a 16-play drive, both in the same half.
Yeah, they TOP'd us to death.
Yeah, that will hurt you, and that will hurt your feelings too, because it'll emasculate you. So it's why, if you're a Miami fan and you see that, you lick your chops and say, "Oh, well, we want to beat you up too." But this is where it's different. I don't think that Miami plays like Virginia plays. Don't mistake that for saying that I think Virginia is better than Miami. I think aspects of the game are played differently, and I kind of think Miami plays the way Florida State would like them to play. They may not be good enough to stop it. We'll see. There's a question about it. But they are playing the way that Florida State would like people to play them. I don't think people like to opt for really mobile, athletic quarterbacks who are seasoned veterans and are willing runners. You'd rather, if you're going to face a seasoned veteran, face the guy that wants to be right where he is in the pocket, crow hopping, setting his feet, throwing, after having gone through his progressions. Fine. Now, you could then turn around and say, and this is what we do, hey, they couldn't get pressure on the quarterback against Virginia. Might that have been scheme? Might that have been concern? Might that have been a worry that he would just take off and make a guy miss if you did get pressure? Also, the game changed a little bit the more I look back on it when Barker went down, when he got hurt. That dude is a physical presence. Ashton Barker needs to be out there for us in this game, and I don't know if he is or he isn't.
We'll see.
Well, I'm knocking on wood with that because I think initially they thought he was fine. There's some worry that he didn't practice so far this week. He's out there, but there's some worry that he didn't practice this week. We'll see. So far, it's Wednesday. You got till Saturday. If you feel better on Thursday, you're playing. You know the scheme. We'll be all right. But let's just see what happens with him. I think he's an important player because the difference when he's on the field and when Shaheem Brown's on the field is noticeable.
Yeah, and clearly
I like
with
when
Kirkland,
Shaheem's
it's
not
been
on
an
the
up and
field.
down relationship as well. Unfortunately,
Mm-hmm.
it seemed like they trusted him a lot. And, well, you look at the snap counts last week. Yeah.
So there you go. So okay. So back to the original point. They want to play a methodical game. Virginia didn't do that. They played 80. They rung up 84 plays. I thought we looked a little tired. I thought we got hurt by some of Virginia's tempo, and they were able to expose us. Now, misalignments, Tom, are things that you can fix. It's a little upsetting that we're having the conversation and that's a thing that happened, but it's something you can fix.
It is. It is one thing that Tony brought up after the Alabama game, and it gets lost in the wash of the victory.
Mm-hmm.
But he did mention that there were some communications and alignment problems against Alabama as well. So that's 2.
Well, this is the problem when you're implementing a brand new defense with new players, and you wonder, like, are you going to get bit by it? I think we got bit by it last week. And I think that's the tone you hear in Tony's voice in the press conference and the immediate availability. He's a little frustrated that some of the bigger plays in the run game for Virginia happened because you were misaligned and somebody wasn't there to fill whenever a gap was created. And you're trying to wreak havoc, quite literally defensive havoc. And if somebody's not there to fill after you have a guy crash or you have a guy stunt, you got a problem on your hands. Then it's 15 yards before they get touched. And if the back is good, and he is, he may make a guy miss or bounce off a guy.
So are these guys. They're shot out of a cannon. So if you do miss a line, they're already at the line to gain.
There's the path where you get beat badly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. You can do this. You can see it. Now, back to Miami's defense. You don't love their linebackers, from what I can tell with you and I talking, just like we don't love our linebackers currently.
From a Gus, what can he do perspective, I like this. If it's in front of them, if it's a tackle to be made in front of them, they're not bad.
Yeah.
But I think the reputation is stronger than the actual merit of the play, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because okay, this is where I get back to tempo. I don't think you just want to line up straight up and try to beat him up. That's not who we are. That's not the way Gus is playing this. You're trying to create angles, and you're going to do so with tempo, and you're going to use the quarterback's legs.
I see hesitation. I see a lack of trigger in some instances. And then there are some guys that just crash always. So you've got a mixture there that I don't know. It's playmaker central at linebacker where you go, oh, well, that dude's just, I mean, what an eraser. When they had Maui Noah, the elder brother, Maui Noah, that dude was in the right place always. Always. Was he the most athletic dude in the world? No, but he was a plus college player, and he knew what you were trying to do to him. I don't see that yet through 4 games, and it could be that they have new schematic responsibilities with this guy from Minnesota that they brought in.
He's a really
so it could
good
be
coordinator.
That.
And you know what?
He's very multiple.
You know, he's very multiple, but they are. So you pointed out something that I noticed as well. They're not afraid to sell out up the field. Like, they're trying to come up the field defensively. They are crashing.
Yeah, they do, especially in short yardage. They will. He loves to add a 5th guy. That's one of the notes I found immediately. He loves to add a 5th guy, especially from the boundary. So that can be the safety number 0 that they love. It could be a corner. They call a lot of corner blitzes. It's funny. I watched the Notre Dame game start to finish. I actually got my hands on some 22. And one of the notes was, boy, he loves boundary side pressures. First play of the Florida game, it's a corner blitz from the boundary. Like, oh, then that's who you are. That wasn't a Notre Dame specific thing. This is like when in doubt. I think he likes the simplicity of the spacing and the rotations that you can get for a matchup.
Sure.
Because you don't have to worry about this ample space.
There's no great expanse.
Right.
Yeah.
So you cover quick ground, boom. So pressure from the boundary. See, that is one instance where if you think about that, just envision the field, the wide hash marks, and you're seeing a corner blitz from the short side of the field. You think about Gus misdirection. That could go one of 2 ways. They could call that perfectly into the teeth of an end around, and you're screwed and it's a loss of 6, or that guy could run himself completely out of the play on some sort of backside action that, that Gus is trying to dial up, like the 3rd down call in overtime, which I guarantee you was for Miami. He did not want to burn that last week. He had to.
Yeah.
That is suited for Miami. And it's out the gate. You don't see but one body in the picture for 30 yards, and you have an explosive play. But it could be either, just depending upon the spacing, the alignment, all that stuff. I see like 6 things from Miami's defense where I go, that could be problematic, or they're playing right into our hands, which it makes it very difficult to assess what the hell's going to happen.
Well, and this is why at the outset of the show, I said there's some things I feel really good about. I think there are things that play right into Florida State's hands on both sides of the ball. I don't know if we're good enough to execute it. I don't know if we're physical enough, deep enough, talented enough to execute it for 4 quarters and get the win. But if they do, they have opportunities because of what they run, countering that of what Miami runs. This is a better match. You know, you and I love to quote Rocky, and he's all wrong for us, baby. You know, when there's the meeting with the manager and he's talking to Creed and he's Apollo Creed, and you know, obviously Apollo Creed's very, very confident. That's who Apollo Creed was. And his manager doesn't want to have to say it, but it's a bad matchup.
It's all wrong for us, baby.
I saw you beat this man.
And he's got his head down and his eyes pointed up.
Yeah, he doesn't want to say it.
It's all wrong for us, baby.
Yeah. It's a matchup.
Like no other man's been beat.
Yeah, and he kept coming. Yeah, and that's when he gives him the old, it's all wrong for us, baby. It's such a great analogy in life. There are situations like that. You're like, I need to leave this situation. This is not going to work well for me. It could be a relationship. It could be any number of things. Yeah.
It could be something like the Super Bowl between the Chiefs and the Bucks with their tackles. They're all wrong for us.
You got a real problem. Yeah, and we knew it going in. We were like, oh, the Chiefs are in trouble.
If they were deficient like we are this year at defensive end,
yeah, we could get away with some things.
They're very good at it.
Yeah, this is going to be a problem.
Patrick, this is all wrong for us.
You're going to have to be superhuman, and you almost were.
Yeah,
but,
that's right.
But there are parts of this that do match up nicely for us. That's what I mean, where you go, you know, this is a kind of a better matchup schematically.
My number one fear with Miami on defense is they're multiple enough. Tommy's got to be smart, and Tommy's got to see it, and they do a good job of disguising and not tipping their hands. They'll present you too high, and then it's one high. They'll roll down. They'll present you man, and it's zone. If you rush, this is one thing, if you rush to snap the ball, you're actually taking away from an advantage you could potentially have because they will like to line up in press alignment from their corners, and if you wait just a tick,
they'll
tip
off.
their hand or they'll stay up. And now it's man-to-man or it's zone. They'll give you indicators like that.
But I don't think it's enough, Tom, to eschew what you are, which is to play. I think you got to play into Tommy's hands and run the ball, and you got to do it with tempo and stay ahead of the chains.
That's fair. I think
because I'm worried to death about the two ends in obvious passing situations. Those are two NFL football players. Those are two mismatches. I don't believe our tackles are as good as their ends. This is going to be an issue if we're in second and obvious and third and obvious.
Bain is everything that people say he is, and I came away more impressed with his work against the run than I did as a pass rusher in pass rushing situations.
270-plus pounds.
He does things that are dumb. They're just unbelievable how he can redirect runs. His pursuit is off the charts. This is a guy who loves the details. He loves little things. I mean, we all know that he had the interception on that bubble screen against Notre Dame in the second half. That's like one example out of 50 I've already seen where he will pursue like a man. And he'll also take on a chipper, a double team. It does not matter. And he'll still redirect the play or set the edge. What he does against the run is unbelievable. Now, Mesidor is a much more shifty player. And he's your traditional, I think, third downish pass rusher who has the ability to drop back and do a little bit more coverage-wise. I worry about him in terms of pass deflections, which Tommy has gotten victimized by a couple weeks in a row now. He threw the pick against Kent State, which is near line of scrimmage, and you have active hands and active eyes. Once they see that they're stoned on the first move, it's like, all right, well, screw it. I'm not rushing the passer. Here comes a throw. It's coming from a low angle. Let me get my hands active. That's the kind of thing I'm worried about with Mesidor. But Bain, I'd run away from him. I'd run at Mesidor. If all things are equal and you're giving Tommy a chance to make a decision before the snap of which way something going to go run at 3, stay away from 4.
Well, I think you're going to read the two ends because I don't think you're going to have a lot of success blocking them. And then secondly, to me, and I understand what you're saying.
I think you can traditionally run at 3. 4, I would stay the hell away from or read off.
Well, what's weird is Mesidor is 280 pounds. He's not small.
He's quicker. Yeah, Bain plays heavier than Mesidor does. Bain plays way heavier than Mesidor does.
Bain's a freak. I mean, we knew that right off the bat. The first time we ever saw Bain, we were like, oh, great. They got him one. They got him
We
a
tried
stud.
like the Dickens that, he was committed here for like 5 minutes.
I know. And I just remember the first time I saw, he's Miami Central kid. And then you see the footage and then you see him play the first time he gets out there in college and you go, I really wish we had gotten him.
There are times I see Lee in the chat says maybe Gus will use Bain's aggressive play to our benefit. There are times when they tell him to go after the play, but his IQ, he's really smart. He knows what you're trying to do to him. So that might work maybe once or twice, but you can do what he's talking about to the linebackers a hell of a lot more than you can do it to Ruben Bain specifically.
What I would also say, this is again where I want tempo to come into play. I want them gassed. You're going to have to this to me is not a low-scoring game. I'm willing to take chances because I want the ball, and I want to go, and I want them gassed. I don't think you're going to win a low-possession game. This needs to be a high-possession game. Now, listen, high-possession games can be crazy. Those games can turn out to be 38-35, and we're all just, wow, what are we watching? But there also can be you create a couple turnovers because you're willing to take chances, and all of a sudden it's an avalanche.
I'm so fascinated to see what Miami decides to defend when it's goal to go, because so far this season in short yardage and goal to go situations, they crash on the run and they leave their corners on an island. And I think partially why Gus ran so many of those trick plays between the tackles last week is because I think we're going to attack the perimeter in the red zone or goal to go inside the 5. Also, they love to go press man in those situations, which would be an auto throw to Deuce Robinson. Because now we know that Tommy and Deuce have that chemistry. You don't know it till you see it in a game.
You also don't need it on the 5 or the 7. He's 6'6". It's man. Throw it up now.
Right.
We're done talking. There's nothing to talk about here.
Yep. I think yes. If we're goal to go inside the 10, you're going to see some fade balls to Deuce. I think that's just an automatic at that point.
Shannon Young has, of course, made the move to Cross Country Mortgage. You guys know that. I like to talk about Shannon, not about who he works with, but who he'll work for, which is you. And it's a guy that has that unwavering commitment. He is a tireless worker. He's also really smart, and he cares deeply. He loves his job, and he loves finding the loan options, best loan options for you so that you can get into that new home. He'll work hard for you. I promise you that. 7 states he's now serving: Florida, Georgia, Bama, Tennessee, Texas, in the Carolina. Loansforknowles.com.
Your local news now.
Florida is looking for input on what oyster harvesting in the Apalachicola.
What's up, gang? It's an easy one. I've told you guys on the air before. Now, Harry's doesn't know this. Harry's makes razors. They know that. But they don't know that on the Jeff Cameron Show, I've talked about using Harry's. See, I've got the razor right here. Now, this is set up to go to travel because I am traveling this weekend, so I've already prepared. And they gave me a nice little travel-sized bottle to bring with me. Sorry, you want to see this side? This is Harry's. They sent your boy razors and wanted me to talk about it. But I was like, I already use Harry's. I love Harry's. So this is easy. I'm kind of obsessed with razors. It goes way back. I started by getting angry at the cost of razors. You all know we're all men here, and it's difficult. Well, maybe not all men. I don't know. Women might use the Harry's on their legs or something too. I don't know. But the point is, for years, I was searching for the right blade, and I didn't want to spend $1 gazillion on razors. And then finally, I settled on, by accident, Harry's, and now I won't use anything else. I only use Harry's. First of all, Harry's owns their own factory. They've been perfecting and manufacturing these blades the whole blades process they've been perfecting for 100 years. So you're getting the very best blade, and I want my blades sharp. I don't want to have to struggle to shave my face. I want to get in, get out. Look at this baby face. Look at it. I shaved using Harry's this morning. For a limited time, our listeners can get Harry's trial set for only $8 plus a free gift at harrys.com/warchant. Head over to harrys.com/warchant to receive our exclusive discount. After you purchase, they will ask you where you heard about them. Please support the Jeff Cameron Show by letting them know, and Warchant for that matter, that you heard about it on this show, okay? So harrys.com/warchant. Tell them we sent you. You're not going to regret it. I'm telling you, fellas, Harry's, it's where it's at. harrys.com/warchant.
These games that were kind of like a hodgepodge of every game that you've ever played. Kind of like the bikes we built. Correct. Yes. And it's a grand experiment. In the beginning, nobody knows how to play the game, and you argue about what the rules are going to be. And in the end, everybody knows how to play the game. By the end of that summer, you know the rules, the neighborhood know the rules, and you play that game like it's the greatest game ever played.
And they still try to break the rules, right?
Oh, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. But at the end, Eddie, you're never going to play it again, and you'll think about it the rest of your life.
And the best game you ever played was that game.
Never been a better one.
Hey, you want to have a Gordo Smash, Jeff?
I do. I'd like that. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Jeff Cameron Show on a Balls McWednesday, getting set for Florida State, Miami, and an atmosphere that I can't wait to feel. Obviously, we know what it looks like to play at Doak at night. We know what it's like for the hours that lead up to a football game like this, the days that lead up to a football game like this. This still has an awful lot of what for to it, a lot of buzz to it. I know that Florida State didn't do their part of the dance here and stay undefeated, which would have only added to the magnitude of this game. But I still think it's huge because most of what you're trying to achieve, really frankly, all of what you're trying to achieve is still on the table. So there's a lot to lose and there's a lot to gain. And I know that for Miami, it's a little less so. Obviously, you could lose this game if you're Miami. You will lose a rivalry game to Florida State if you do, and there's a pride element to all of that, of course, for both teams. But they would still have, I think, the opportunity to fight their way back and compete to get to the ACC championship. But I think Florida State's in deep, deep trouble if we lose this game in that regard, because now you're going to need a little bit of help. You know, Georgia Tech doesn't really play anybody the rest of the way. Now, you could say, well, they almost lost to Wake. It's true. But I don't like leaving it into other people's hands here. I think if you win this game, you're in control of your destiny here.
Yeah, if you win it, if you lose it, Charlotte's out of the question. I think it would be because you're going to have to. If Miami was the team you need help from, they need to lose 3 times. No, And Virginia's game against NC State was not a conference game, so you need them to lose 3 times in that regard as well. Yeah. I mean,
They could.
I mean,
they may lose this weekend to Louisville. I mean, I know what you're saying, but yeah.
Yeah, but you're talking percentages here.
It's not ideal.
What we set out to do before the season started was steady the ship, win 8 or 9 games. That's still on the table, but the thing is goals get accelerated and changed. Goalposts moved when you play a game like we did against Alabama. And you fully expect to see that again effort-wise on Saturday. And I don't think you're wrong to expect that type of hornet's nest feel to the game.
It's going to be awesome. It's going to be magnificent. It's going to be the thing that gives you chills. It's the thing that you love about college football when you get rivalry games like this and your team's in them. We live for this. This sport is about that. I mean, we all know the great rivalries of the game. This is one of them. In the pantheon of college football, you're talking about Florida State, Miami. You're talking about Ohio State, Michigan. You're talking about, you name Oklahoma, Texas. You can go on and on. We all know the rivalry games. This is one of those. This is one of the biggest ones. We've all taken turns where at various times these rivalries and this rivalry at one time was the best in college football.
And going back and forth and watching some of the circumstances that Miami played through defensively, one of the strange things I found was despite having an incredible time of possession advantage over Florida in the heads-up game that they played, remember that drive in the first quarter? It took whatever that was, how many plays. Man, their D-line got pushed backward in the second half of that game, and they were well-rested. I don't understand what's going on. The interior of the Miami defensive line is kind of a mystery to me. I know what the exterior is. I know what the pass rushers are. But there are some stretches when you watch Miami's defensive interior and you go, oh, man, they are lightning quick and they're going to make plays. And then there are times when you go, are they engaged? What's going on there? It's going to be fascinating to see how our offensive line, how the middle of our offensive line operates against them. Because you could argue that they lose, Florida State loses the matchup there, and you could argue that Florida State's offensive line plays really well and sets the tone in the middle between the center, the 2 guards.
The oddity is, again, Florida's situation is so weird because their quarterback has played so bad. It looks like he's regressed immensely, and their passing game is dreadful. But the problem with Florida is if they stay engaged and they care, they have a good to pretty good offensive line. They have a very good defense. They have aspects of their roster that are very talented. And if they get a modicum of good play from their quarterback and the passing game is a little bit more imaginative, they're a tough team. You don't want to play them. They could beat Texas. You wouldn't be stunned.
He missed some things in that game where you go, DJ, where are you looking?
But that's my point. Like, if they get anything out of that guy, they probably beat LSU. They would have beaten USF. I mean, they wouldn't be in the predicament they find themselves in.
They could have beaten Miami as well. Yeah, that's one thing I'm looking for this week. If there's something there, if you're Tommy, take it. Remember Tony Tokar's talking about this in preseason?
Oh, yeah.
This is the game, that lesson about it doesn't always have to be a check down. And there are times where they're going to put their corner on an island and you're going to catch them in press against Deuce. And I feel like if it's not 3rd and 3, okay, let's take that shot. If it's 1st and 10, if it's 2nd and 8, all right, I want to see it. But there are a lot of times where they will give you the outlet pass to a Randy Pittman. Take it. Just take it.
Well,
because the other stuff, they're setting traps. They're setting traps at other parts of the field.
Sydney Sweeney Fan Club, thanks for the contribution and the question. The question is, what's the race to FF Miami? That's in perpetuity, Sydney Sweeney Fan Club. I think the race is to 31. I wanted to see your face. I think the race is to 31. I don't think you can win scoring less than 30. I shouldn't say that. I feel more comfortable putting the race to 30. I think we're going to have some success moving the football here. I think Miami's going to have some success moving the football here. And so I'm going to set it at 30. I don't normally do that. But yeah, I'm going to do that.
I could see it being as little as 24. I could see it being as much as 38. This game is hard.
It is hard. It's a difficult.
I know Virginia turned out differently on the scoreboard than we were hoping. Honestly, watching that game back, I don't think the assessment was terribly off. Our first quarter was a disaster. The hidden plays, the 50-50 plays, the penalties we took. you set yourself on a path that allows for that to be a problem. The defense played worse than I expected. Florida State's did, sure. But I will say, just after watching that game a second time and a third time, I still believe that if you do the little things right, you're a 10 to 17 point better than Virginia program.
Well, you saw it
doesn't matter. You got smoked in those situations. And
yes,
so there
situations matter. Yeah, there's a way to point out all of it. I mean,
this one, though, is you could play this 3 times and it looks completely different, like completely different all 3 times.
I agree with that. I do like the way it sets up. I don't know, though, because if you can't stop the run and you gave up over 200 yards rushing to Virginia, I think for different reasons. But you did. If you don't stop the run here, you're going to get blown out. You're going to get worn down and you're going to get blown out. So there's a fundamental test to be had early in this football game. If you're shutting it down like you did against Alabama after the first drive, it's game on. It's game on. Now Miami has to kind of come out of what they want to do to beat you. Hour number 2 forthcoming. Stay with Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Injured? Call attorneys who care. Facing Brooks. Offices, Tallahassee.
Give your business a facelift with a modern, consistent, creative brand overhaul from Curiosity Marketing Group. These days, it's not enough for your business just to have a standard website or a Google listing to reach your customers. Your business needs to stand out with eye-popping branding, modern web development, and strong marketing. And it takes a team to pull it all together. Words and websites matter. At Curiosity, we make the most of yours. Find out more at curiositymg.com.
I used to fight almost on a daily basis working on my business website. I'm a pretty smart guy, but I could never get it to function the way I needed it to, and I was losing customers because of it. That's when I called Curiosity Marketing. They listened, they understood, we collaborated, and in the end, they delivered beyond my highest expectations. Now, I can barely keep up with the work. They say the future belongs to the curious, and now I'm excited about the future of my business.
Find out more at curiositymg.com.
T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark Construction.com. We conquer all peaks. We fix those darn leaks. Call 850-766-1340. T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark Construction.com.
License number CCC 1331204.
The Heisman Trophy is coming to Kraft Nissan Thursday through Saturday. And on Friday from 2 to 3:30, William Floyd and Charlie Ward will be at the dealership signing autographs and taking photos. One lucky person will win a pair of tickets to each of FSU's last 3 home games. Only this week and only at Kraft Nissan.
Hey, this is for my homeowner friends out there. You know who you are. When you get your grass cut, you're going to inspect the work, make sure it's good. Get your house painted, check around every corner and edge, make sure that's done right. Get a new roof, gotta get eyes on those shimmering new shingles. Get your septic tank cleaned. Bet you're not popping your head down in there to take a look around. You gotta trust it's done right. I'll make it easy. Go see my friend Greg Miller, Miller Septic. They're my guys. I trust them, and you can too. MillerSeptic.com. That's it. That's the commercial. That's the whole thing. Check them out. That's MillerSeptic.com.
Pay-per-view fights can ring up big bills, especially since in the Octagon, there is one every few weeks. That's why the 7th Hill Tap Room right downstairs from Corner Pocket Bar and Grill carries every single fight. Plus, unlike most pay-per-view bars, there's no cover charge. And drink specials, too, like $3 select domestic beers and more. And if you enjoy international soccer, 7th Hill opens early. $2 mimosas on Sundays, anyone? The 7th Hill Tap Room, 2475 Appalachia Parkway. Just downstairs from Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT, Greta, Tallahassee. Your sports flash update on Real Talk 93.3 in Tallahassee.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers football team signing safety Sebastian
If you're just thinking about buying some shorts, you need to get them from Chubby's. And I'll tell you how and how to save money in just a moment. But they have an NFL line, which is really cool. Chubby's has the officially licensed NFL gear. If you're a fanatical fan, but you don't want to wear a jersey, like you're not a jersey guy. Maybe you're my age, and at my age, it's hard to pull off a jersey. You could be Tom's age, but I don't think you'd be mine wearing a jersey. So There's an elite alternative. Tom, pull up what we got here with Chubby's. Look at all these. Yeah, there it is. Okay. Show me the Miami Dolphins one. I've got my Bucket Ears Chubby's shirt that they sent me, but I haven't seen what the Dolphins look like or the Jags look like. Oh, there we go. Look at that. I like the far left Hawaiian shirt for those of you just listening on the pod, but look at that. That is what we do right there. So a Dolphins game day shirt, and they need your help at Miami. So, wear your gear. Be proud. Do the right thing. For a limited time, you can use our exclusive code JCS for $10 off at chubbyshorts.com/JCS. Yes, that includes the NFL collection. Let those thighs hang out and let the good times roll. And here, for a limited time, our friends at Chubby's are giving you listeners $10 with the promo code JCS at chubbyshorts.com/JCS. That's $10 off your order with the promo code JCS, and that includes the NFL collection. Support our show. Tell them that we sent you. Express yourself and level up your game day wardrobes with our friends at Chubby's.
/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Broker Services, LLC. Member NYSE, SIPC.
When it's time to honor a life well lived, trust Cornerstone Memorials. Experts in creating meaningful memorials with generations of care and craftsmanship. We help you create a lasting tribute to your loved ones. Cornerstone Memorials creates custom designed headstones, mausoleums, detailed stone engraving, and more. Visit cornerstonememorials.org or call today to speak with a compassionate expert. Cornerstone Memorials, honoring life and preserving legacy.
Hey everybody, this is Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage. Been in the industry now for 22 years. I just made the move over to the nation's largest retail lender, Cross Country Mortgage, here to serve you in 7 states, including Florida, Georgia, Alabama, the Carolinas, Tennessee, and the state of Texas. Here to offer better service, better rates, and if you were thinking about buying or if you've been on the fence and been waiting to call me, now is the time. You can still find me at loansforknowles.com. That is, again, loansforknowles.com. I've helped thousands of fellow Knowles get into their dream home, and I can't wait to help you get into yours. Give me a call today. I'm at 954-369-6171, or go to loansforknowles.com. Again, that's 954-369-6171, and that's loansforknowles.com.
Equal Housing Link, NMLS 373031.
Tired of watching baseball score updates on your phone? Get off the bench and head to the CP. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill is your home for all MLB games in-state or nationwide. Enjoy the coldest drinks, Tallahassee's best wings, and watch your team in crystal clear comfort. And if you like to compete, come by Tuesday nights for CP Trivia and Thursday nights for Beer Bingo, where you can walk home with cold, hard cash. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachie Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
We got it all. Radio show, podcast, YouTube channel, multimedia. We're rolling, Big River. Great day of baseball last night. Another good one today. Quick update there. 1-0 Cleveland in the 4th against Detroit. Always fun on the second day of the wild card round, Tom, to have 4 elimination games. Because that's what you have. And it's, you're like, oh, grand opening, grand closing for some folks after a 162-game season.
Well, what's baseball? What are you talking about?
That's a toughie.
Interesting sport.
So it's Bad news, Trey Benson's out for 4 to 6, and he was now going to be the feature back. Frustrating as somebody who picked up Trey in the latter rounds. Also frustrating because I like Trey Benson, who's a good guy and played so well for us here at Florida State and overcame a devastating injury at his time at Oregon. Lots of reasons it's frustrating, but he's out 4 to 6 because he just had arthroscopic surgery on his meniscus and is going to be sidelined for 4 to 6. So they're going to their third team running back in Arizona. Oof.
I had Malik Neighbors. That was hurtful.
Oh.
Yeah. That was a devastating blow.
That
to the
is
efforts.
a devastating blow indeed. Yeah, this is where you get all the updates this week. I did see Jaden Daniels is back for the Commanders. That's good news for them. And there's some other guys that are game time decisions as we build up to it. As far as, again, baseball today, all day into the night, baby. I love it. Bridges the gap. Gets you to football tomorrow. You're all good. Everybody be all right. And it was riveting yesterday. Absolutely riveting. And to watch, it's funny. One really quick thing, and we can talk about this in the third hour, and we will. The toughest decision a manager has to make now is, a lot of times when you're going to pull your ace. And obviously Boone's taking a beating today because he pulled his ace and Boston did not. And one threw 113 pitches or whatever it was, 113, 117. The other threw 102. And you pull him with one out in the seventh and nobody on. And it all goes to hell. Sadly, Luke Weaver, Florida State's own, who's had a great career. I was thinking about Luke Weaver last night when I was unfortunately watching him not being able to record an out. And I was thinking to myself, Luke's had an interesting career. He's a guy that has at times been great. He had a stretch there, obviously, as a starter early in his career. He gets a second lease on life when his time as a starter is up. He's not as effective. Arizona's going to move on from him. But people see enough life in that arm to say, that's a good arm out of the bullpen. We can do something with that. And he reinvents himself and is really effective out of the bullpen. And then, hell, people forget the Yankees on their way to the World Series last year. He was their closer. He was really good.
Yeah, had they won the whole thing and Aaron Judge not been terrible in the postseason, I think he would have been one of the 2 or 3 heroes.
Yeah, he was great. He was great. He's not their closer currently, and he was brought in last night, and he was, unfortunately, ineffective. Couldn't get it out. He gave up some runs, and they lose the game. Now, that's fine with me because I'm not rooting for the Yankees. But that said, I went back and looked. My man, not to put his business out there, but this is public information. He's made over $15 million playing baseball in the majors, and his pension is fully guaranteed now, buddy. He's been there for over a decade.
Well, that'll do. All right.
Yeah, have yourself a career.
The Luke Weaver Pavilion at the new baseball stadium in Tallahassee.
Luke, your time is nigh in Major League Baseball, I fear. But there's a home right here for you. And I know you come back to town frequently. I know you're a great golfer. I'm friends with a friend of his. And there's a lot of great golf in Tallahassee these days. I'll see you around. But, maybe we discuss contributions to the building of a new stadium at Florida State, and we're all moving on. I would tell you that they should first ask Buster. He made a few more shekels than has Luke Weaver.
The Posey porch in the new stadium.
He made a few more shekels than Luke Weaver. It's funny. I would tell you one final thing here, live spectator. I don't think he picked the wrong reliever for the batters that were coming up. This is discussed pregame, and this is where managers really do take a beating. I also always wonder what's fair to blame, what's not, and how much freedom they get. Go back to Kevin Cash. Some would say blowing the World Series for the Rays because they played it exactly by the book and decided, well, we're not going to let Blake pitch a third time through the order, even though they weren't sniffing him. Last night is not quite that because Fried had some laborious innings. They were some stressful innings in there. Now, he wasn't getting hit hard at all, And at the time he gets pulled is with one out. That wasn't by accident that he got pulled with one out. What we now know about the way these teams are run is that managers have less say than ever before. They have less say than ever before. You have GMs, you have the analytics department, and they sit down before the series starts and they look at the matchups and they say, here's the pitch count that we're operating under or not. You know I was reading something a while back that a lot of times once you get into the postseason, obviously you're conserving pitches during the regular season, but now we're trying to win a title. Now you have a chance to win a ring. This is what you're building towards. 162 games was meant to get you to this moment. And this moment, things change. The analytics change. So now as a manager and as a GM and as an agent and as a player, I got to understand this ain't this isn't a Tuesday in Baltimore, game number 74. I'm a little sore. We're trying to win an effing title. You know how hard it is to win a title? And those flags fly forever. So all bets are off. Now the conversation is, I can't worry about whether or not you're going to be ready to pitch in the Toronto series because I got to get you to the Toronto series. We got to get there. And if that means you throw 115 pitches tonight, that's what it means. And maybe you don't start game 1. Maybe you start game 2 or 3 or whatever we got to do. But I can't win a World Series if I can't get to the second round. And the fear is like when you say, okay, well, they let Garrett Crochet in. Well, that was always the plan. Crochet, they're basically saying, is our horse. We're going to try to get him through 8 because we don't want anybody else to pitch besides Chapman, who's once again reinvented himself. Unbelievable. This version of Aroldis Chapman is the best version of Aroldis Chapman we maybe ever seen. He now has control. He throws off-speed pitches for strikes when he has to. He works up in the zone, low in the zone, inside and out, doesn't walk people anymore. Where was this son of a bitch in Pittsburgh? Where has he been off and on throughout his career with this? He is now
beating women.
Well, that's true. He's now dominant. So what I would have told you is that they're going to sit there and say beforehand, is a GM, is a manager, they're a president, team president. They're going to sit down in a room and say, okay, what's our plan for the 5th inning? What's our plan for the 7th inning? What's our plan if this is the scenario, if this is the score? What's our plan if our horse, if our ace goes out and gives up 5 in the first and throws 39 pitches? Who's the long reliever we're turning to in the 3rd or in the 1st? Like everything to a T. What I would like to know, what I would love to be in the room is to know when a manager can override and go by what he has seen. I know what's on paper. I know what the computer says. I know what our analytics department says. I know what the regular season commands of me because we have a series 2 days from now, and then we have another series, and then we got to travel cross country, and we have another series, and I know my bullpen's worn down, and I know, so you're always, a lot of these things go out the window once we're in the postseason. Now, all of a sudden, on a night where I want to get you out at 90 pitches, I'm going to let you throw 110 pitches. I got to win the game.
Yeah, this is something that we see often in football, too, which is you can say, and analytics takes how many data points to come up with its percentages? Thousands? How many simulations are they running to get to 64-36?
Right.
This is the one. This might be one of the 36. Sorry, man. I know what the numbers say, but tonight, in the feel of this moment, with the information I have before me, I'm going for it on 4th down because my defense doesn't have an answer for this guy.
Right.
I know that he's a career 58% passer, but here's the problem. I'm through 3 quarters and he's completing 82% of his passes. This guy is having the night of his life. I can't give him the ball back. I can't punt. We got to go for it here. Got to do it. Got to do it.
Well,
like that's the different circumstances that occur in a one-off.
Perfect example was the night that Bill Belichick on his own 20 whatever went for it against Indianapolis.
A Sunday night or a Monday night game.
Well, he's like, my defense is not stopping Peyton Manning if we give this ball back. We haven't stopped him all night long. I'm going to go ahead and try to win it with my guy. And, if it doesn't work, I can live with it because I know we're not getting a stop against him.
I'm sure the analytics said punt, or they probably should have. Maybe they didn't. Florida State, Alabama, week 1 on our own 30, whatever it is.
I actually don't think they would have. Maybe because of where it was, but I mean,
we got to go win it here was
but
the
also-
energy behind that call.
But also,
Yeah.
you have moved and really dominated the line of scrimmage at that point. All the evidence is right there for you.
You have good feedback in that moment, absolutely, leading up to the call. And you know that Tommy's legs is also going to help you get a fairer look in a one-on-one situation. They're not going to stack against Roydell because they have to be so afraid of Tommy just keeping the ball and running. So that's good too. But the previous 45 minutes before that was an uneasy doke going, oh, come on now, guys. We had this game.
Yeah, this game's won.
totally
This game is won.
under control.
I would like to know when a manager can say, all right, look, man, it's game 7 of the World Series. I'm leaving Blake in. They haven't touched him. They haven't touched him tonight. Snell's been dominant. I'm not. If Kevin Cash could have just told management, I don't care what we talked about. Are you watching the game?
You can fire me tomorrow. I don't care.
After we win the World Series. Like, I'm not taking him out. But I get in the regular season because you have to control your manager from doing something stupid with the thirst to win a game on a Tuesday. You're like, hey man, this ain't about Tuesday. This is about next Wednesday and the following Thursday and the fact that we're going to be in the postseason. So I got to help you help yourself here. But in the postseason, man, I need you to be free enough. And maybe he was and just didn't do it to say, I can't pull him here. Who would I rather pitch right now? Who would I rather have in this game right now? Fried or Weaver?
Well, they might have numbers that say beyond 100 and some odd pitches this year, he hasn't either pitched, or when he did, his numbers were so bad that what the hell in a one-run game.
Yeah.
Let me bring in the fresh arm.
Again, there's nobody on base.
I don't agree with it.
If the go-ahead run's coming to the plate and you're worried about it because he's just given up a really roped single that is squared up, and you're like, okay, this jives with the analytics. The pitches are flat, whatever it might be, we're going to make a move.
I'm going to assume that the batter he got out was a lefty or somebody with terrible lefty splits, the first out of that inning.
Yeah, it's just a regular matchup.
It could be a righty with terrible lefty splits, but I'm sure that's what it was. I'm going to also guess that in the dugout it was communicated before he walked out onto the field. They said, we need you for one more out. Because if it wasn't communicated to Fried, then that would be really strange. Oftentimes it's, hey, the lineup's flipping over.
We have it set up the way we want it set up.
Right.
There's no doubt that they were going by whatever the pregame plan was. Like, again, these guys, it's so controlled now that if this had been in the 5th inning, they had a plan. If this is the 8th inning, they have a different plan. If it's the 6th inning, they have a plan. If it's 7, 8, 9, as opposed to 1, 2, 3, of course, that is all charted without a doubt. It wasn't by accident that after that first out, they went and got him. But what I would like to know is if in that moment, yes, it's been discussed, but I've decided we're not going to do that because my man's not giving up hard contact. I just like the approach. If you got Fried's a little different kind of an ace. He's not the horse that, say, a Paul Skeens is. He's not the horse that Crochet is. He's a giant. That's a big, strong man. Fried's a little bit more finesse. So it's a little different there. Like I feel like you'd be more inclined to make that decision if you're if you got a power pitcher and he's just missing bats. I mean, like Skubal had 14 Ks and he gave up 3 hits. You're like, well, I'm not inclined to take a guy out who's now striking out 14 people. They can't hit him. It just pisses me off.
Clearly.
And I'm rooting for Boston.
But I got to tell you, but it's in Miami week. It has pissed you off enough.
No, it's playoff baseball. We just spent 1 full hour to start the show on Florida State Miami. Only Florida State Miami, and we'll get back to Florida State Miami. I'm going to deviate when we're in the playoffs, and I watch this happen every year with managers. You feel like the conversation has to evolve a little bit. Is all I'm saying in that sport, because we caught up, we learned a lot. Analytics do matter. There are areas of the game that it's helped immensely. And then I think sometimes we just need to, be watching the game. Like, we're watching the game here. I don't care what. It's not Tuesday last month. It's now. It's the postseason. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark Construction.com. We conquer all peaks. We fix the Roofing and construction services. T-Spark.com.
License number CCC 1331204.
Fellas, finding clothes that really fit shouldn't be a struggle, and at Nick's Big and Tall, it never is. Come check out our brand new selection with fresh styles for every occasion. From casual weekend wear to sharp sport coats, we've got the sizes and fits that make you look and feel your best. Nick's Big and Tall has one of the widest size ranges around, so no more settling for good enough. You'll find exactly what works for you. Stop in today and see what's new at Nick's Big and Tall, where style comes in every size. Nick's Big and Tall, your fit, your style, your store.
If you're looking for the perfect date night spot, treat your special someone to a cozy courtyard dinner at Café de Martín, Tallahassee's hidden gem for authentic Peruvian cuisine. Share a bottle of wine, dive into our sizzling lomo saltado to savory handmade empanadas or our famous chupe de camarones, and fall in love with the flavors of Peru. Visit Café de Martín, where every dish tells a love story. Online at cafedemartin.com.
That chip turned into a crack? No worries. Better call Seminole. We'll fix your glass faster than you can say road trip.
Road trip?
Mobile service, expert installs, and no headaches. Call 850-539-4527, 850-539-4527, or go to SeminoleAutoglass.com. Your glass, your rules, but seriously, better call Seminole.
Seminole Auto Glass.
Barry knows cool. He's keeping you comfortable. Barry knows cool. He can put him to the test. Barry knows heating and air conditioning. Keeping you comfortable is what Barry does best.
No matter how busy life gets, your home is the place where your family and friends show you they care and celebrate with you. That's why the professionals at Barano Heating and Air Conditioning always make sure your home is comfortable. Just like those who matter to you most, Barano will always be there for you.
This is Tyler from Barano Heating and Air. Now you can schedule an appointment, purchase or renew your service agreement, or pay your bill from your mobile device. Any day, anytime, anywhere. When you turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air. Online at baranoac.com.
Florida license number CAC 1816186.
Barry knows heating and air conditioning.
Some men follow the crowd. Others take the long way, the wayward way. At thewaywardgent.com, we've curated the gear, gadgets, and grit every respectable man needs, from the fairway to the fire pit. We've identified the top-rated Amazon finds, so you don't have to. No fluff, just the good stuff. Visit thewaywardgent.com for the man who's not afraid to live a little off course. Thewaywardgent.com.
From the championship stage to coaching change and everything in between, Warchant.com remains your home for the best FSU football coverage in the business. Brutally honest columns and features, market-leading multimedia presence across video and podcast, the largest FSU fan community with a staff that combines for over 100 years of experience covering the Noles. When change comes, Warchant.com is your home for analysis from every angle. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Sign up today.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
You know, yesterday we talked a lot about personnel usage. Tom, we talked about it on Monday, talked about it again yesterday on Seminole Headlines. And I want to bring it up again here because I know you did the smash on Monday with Ira, so there's no doubt between all of the different shows, the message boards, Twitter, the email inbox, by now it seems fans have zeroed in big time on the need for James Williams to have a seat.
It has been consistent and loud.
Yeah, it's growing.
Yeah,
the chorus is growing.
The post-game show was brutal. People paid money, and the only comment was negative about James Williams.
So we both like James Williams, who we interviewed for the Battles in the preseason, and who's a smart, thoughtful kid who's played good football in his career at various times. He may not be the reason, but the way this scheme works, he does stand out as a bit of a problem currently. And I think what exacerbates the problem is that people feel like there's an answer. And the answer is Amari Williams. And maybe Amari Williams.
Maybe, yeah. My challenge to that would be based on what?
Well, he's a much better athlete, is what some might point to. A two-way player, in fact.
It could work. Then you could be right. But defensively, okay, we're going on high school tape of him being a defensive end? Like, what are we doing here?
Right. What I would tell you is they just think he's a much more he's a lot quicker. I don't know when they get in the weight room who's stronger, but James has a hard time holding up, is what it looks like. Now, Amari is not a big defensive end. He would be a speed rusher. He's 225 pounds or whatever he is the last time I checked. But I feel like, look, you know how it goes. If a starter's not playing well, whoever is in line to be that guy's backup is the one that people are going to cry for, especially if the guy is a good athlete.
236.
Okay, so he's up to 236. I think I checked about a year ago. So there you go. So if you're not going to play him at tight end all that often, then what are we doing? Is the other thought.
And that was brought up today?
It was, and that's why I brought it up now. Getting Randy back at tight end helps, so Amari had more flexibility, quote, unquote. That's what Tom's referencing. That's Mike Norvell from today. And, all right, that's going to make a lot of people go, all right, don't mind if I do. I said Amari because that is the obvious choice of the fan and what people would point to, plus the same position, and a guy who's a really good athlete, and people know that, hey, look, he might be a better answer. I am deferring in this case to Tony because of what Tony's asking his players to do differs so much from defenses we've covered in the past. And I kind of understand that maybe we're not understanding everything about his assignment, but yeah, he's not playing well. He doesn't appear to be playing well.
I think for myself, I want to give James one more game against a different scheme. And let's see, before I draw a conclusion to say, because it's 5 games in at that point. I mean, there's a lot of snaps out there to say liability, not a liability, good player, not a good player. If you go by PFF, which I'm not telling everybody to live by the gospel of PFF, best pass rushing grade was Ashton Barker. Makes sense. He actually got home to the quarterback and nearly ended him on one of the 2 sacks he was credited with. Mandrell Desir was the second best grade in 43 snaps, followed by James Williams, who was in the green, which means good at the pass rush. And then down the line in 6th place was Amari Williams, who did play 7 snaps, and 5 of which he was a pass rusher.
I wonder what are the grades against the run? And this is I think misalignment might be what you're alluding to here because Tony brought it up several times.
I think Tony was domed up in that game.
I think Tony's mad at himself in retrospect. I don't know if he was domed up in game.
Well, here's why. Because leading into the game against Virginia, he was talking about all the things they do. It's just the way he was speaking about the challenge of going against Virginia's offense was more than just they've got a lot of good players. It was, if you're not on your P's, and it was like there was worry and concern. And I don't know. We've only had Tony for a few Sunday press conferences in season. So maybe that's just the way he talks about good offenses. But it just felt a little strange the way he spoke about the challenge of playing Virginia. And then you watch the rut we were in, and it felt like on that night, after we had a couple of things that they had not seen before, and you do get a couple of turnovers generated and you miss a third one, it felt like he was almost out of bullets.
I just wonder if he felt bad about how much he put on their plate during the week. The other problem I guess we could cite here for a lot of players, not just James Williams, and I mentioned it in the first hour, they were on the field a bunch, and you gain nothing from whooping up on Kent State and getting pulled early. You gain nothing from crushing East Texas A&M and not being out on the field for very long. And now all of a sudden you're going against a team that runs tempo with a quarterback who will run and has good receivers and a good offensive line and you're running north of 70 plays, like, I don't know, but it certainly seems like it stands to reason that they may have been tired. They may have been incapable. Maybe they were ill-prepared, if you will, for all of what we saw there with Virginia, and he just felt bad that maybe he didn't give them something more digestible.
I think so. Yeah, I think that's partially what it was. Maybe a little bit of paralysis by analysis. The other thing is, emotionally, it was just weird in the first quarter. I come back to that. Ira mentioned that also on the Smash. I had not heard this. Did he speak on it yesterday, the pregame stuff that he saw when he was on the field in Charlottesville?
No, he didn't mention
So he brought it up on Smash. He said, well, I got a chance to go down there. Some ACC teams let you down there. Many don't anymore since COVID. They use that as a clean break.
Excuse, yeah.
And there were just a couple of moments of over exuberance, maybe bravado with trash talking at Virginia before the game started, and it just doesn't make any sense. And you go, what the hell? So I don't know. Maybe they were wound a little bit too tightly. Maybe they played the game in their head a little bit early. Maybe they were, I don't know, just there were a couple of things that were off about it. And it showed up with the tackling. It showed up in some of those moments where it felt like things were spiraling out of control. You could almost see it body language wise, but it's not the same as shutting down and quitting like last year's team. It just looked a little strange.
Yeah, they're not going to quit. I think the team makeup is such they're not going to quit. I don't think we have to worry about that. I do want them to play a little bit more under control. It's funny though, because we're all fishing for why Tony seemed pensive in his comments about, what they did right, what they did wrong. What was he kind of taking blame for? Obviously if your defense doesn't play well, you're going to take ownership as a coach. That's what leaders do. But it was Mike was going out of his way to protect the defense when he talked about him. Tony was kind of not dodgy. I'm not describing it well, but he seemed reluctant to have the conversation, almost as if he felt guilty about something. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if that's accurate or not. It just felt that way when you listen to the conversation. And it could be that he got something wrong in the scout, and he felt bad about that because they broke a tendency or they didn't do something he thought they would do, and now he feels like he let him down, or that his adjustment to that was not quick enough, or whatever it might be. Or, when he did mention misalignment more than once.
Right.
And that speaks to confusion, and that's on you.
And there were communication problems, according to him, in the Bama game. Even though they looked like the most buttoned-up operation I'd seen in a long time with communication, he lamented that they got some things wrong in the Bama game. So in your 2 Power 5 tests, the coordinator is telling you that the communication has to tighten up. Well, it better by Saturday, because this crew is also going to do the same thing that Virginia does, in that they'll fight for the extra half a foot. And sometimes that turns into 3 yards, and that changes the leverage. It is a carbon copy, what Miami did to Notre Dame and Florida, as to what Virginia did to us, which is fighting for those extra yards. You have to be ready for that.
Yeah, but it's a carbon copy in that they have 2 runners that are very physical and will fight for the extra yard. It's not a carbon copy in terms of tempo, in terms of the overall scheme.
No, the amount of plays you're running. No,
it's not that. It's a carbon copy in that they are physical and they want to add to the ledger.
Yes.
Yeah. There's no doubt.
And linemen and tight ends and they'll
all get involved.
And
yes.
God knows the ACC is not going to blow the whistle.
But I don't think that it's a matter of. I really. This is why I'm not as concerned. Now maybe you just get physically whooped. And then we're having a very, very different conversation again about, what they're capable of. But if they don't get physically whooped, I don't think the physicality will come into question here, because they're going to be pissed. They will have been talked to and shown several examples of that embarrassment of the 12-play drive having 11 runs. That could not have been a pleasant film review. That could not have been a pleasant conversation. That is one in which you are challenged as a man. And it's like, what do you want to be seen as here? They ran the ball. They thought so little of you. They ran the ball 11 times on a 12-play drive. There's no nice way to look at that. That's not going to reveal anything that we want to have the conversation about here today. I mean, it can't happen. It just can't happen. You see it sometimes in the NFL when a team gets rolling in the run game and another team doesn't want to be there, and they get emasculated. And you're like, those are pros. That's got to be rough. Like, guys, they've handed the ball to him 8 straight plays. This is humiliating. Detroit versus Baltimore. Both those backs go well over 100. I mean, what are we doing out here? I mean, goodness gracious,
Do you want to
Baltimore.
be here? Yeah,
Well, I mean, look, they're two good backs, but damn it, man. My man over here's got a $130. This dude's got 98 and 2 TDs. We gonna stop anybody? I got to imagine that is not going to be an issue here if they're capable. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. And that's where the snap counts, and we'll take a look at that on Sunday once you get those data points. Like, for example, I thought this is not exactly against the run defense, but you look at corner snap counts. I was worried about Quindarius' play against Kent State. Yeah. I know that's very in the weeds. I didn't like what I saw, and I've been Mr. on 16 for a long time. But when Tony mentioned him on Sunday and said, well, it's going to be those three in the rotation, it's going to be Jabril and Jerry and Quindarius, I thought, maybe those first two guys. You look at the snaps, it was Jerry Wilson, 79, Jabril Rawls, 77, Quindarius Jones, 16. I was like, yeah, I like that. But let's take a look and see what the distribution is at linebacker, what the distribution is on the defensive line, because you've got about 7 or 8 candidates that you can rotate in and out, including Juju Wynn, who's now back in the fold. And how does that impact everything?
Should be noted here, guys, this Friday, Libations Friday edition of the Jeff Cameron Show. First hour is just your standard here. I'm going to be over at Kraft Nissan from 2 to 4 doing the show. The reason for that is they have a promotion in which the iconic Heisman Trophy will be on display. Listeners, fans are encouraged to swing on by to take a look at the Heisman Trophy. Customers, fans of all ages, invited to come to the dealership to see that trophy. But obviously, from my end of it, I've got a great opportunity here. This is going to be fun for me because from 2 to 4, the rest of the show, I'll get a chance to talk to my old teammate and Florida State legend William Floyd is going to join me. Charlie Ward looks to join me, and Luke Laux looks to join me, as well as perhaps Peter Warwick. So a chance for me to talk to those guys. And the reason I love those guys, obviously, but the reason I want to talk to them about it, and Luke will talk a little basketball, obviously, but as far as the football guys go, well, I mean, William and I go back to being 10 years old playing football with each other, but so I love him, and it'll just be great to kick it. But I want that less to be about, hey, great to see you again, brother, and more about take me through your time in this rivalry. And the same goes for Peter Warwick, and the same goes for Charlie Ward. I mean, it's Florida State Miami week. I never played Florida State and Miami. You know, they did. Those three guys were on the field for this rivalry. And I just want to know what, they can regale us for 2 hours with those stories. We'll take a breather and we'll talk some basketball with Luke Laux in there. But yeah, man, take me through those games. Take me through 93. Take me through 99, Peter. Let's go through this. Charlie, what were your thoughts about, the games against Miami? That's incredible.
So we're going to pay due respect to Charlie's day job as a basketball coach, but we're not going to ask him about his roster top to bottom. No.
I love Charlie. I saw Charlie earlier this year for the first game, the Alabama game, ran into him in the luxury boxes there and gave him a hug and said hello. I think you'll understand. We're talking Florida State. I mean, he's a Heisman Trophy winner. They're there at the Heisman Trophy's there. We're not, what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. You going to ask P-Dub, do you still feel like that should be on your mantle?
Well, he knows it should. The whole world does. That should absolutely be on his mantle. But the reason I bring any of this up is, A, it's going to be this Friday. I'll be over there doing the show. And I look forward to talking to those guys. And if you guys want to swing on by and see that and listen to that or take a picture with the Heisman, I don't think – can't touch it. I think it's going to be like a glass case, but you can be up next to it and all that. It's maybe worth your time. I love all those guys, but Peter Warwick, as far as just talking to him as a player that I really looked up to and admired, it's him and Marvin Jones for me in a lot of ways as my two favorite players. Now, William is my boy, so of course, we're friends, so it's a little bit different. But like in terms of players that I watched and went, oh my God, that like Peter was that guy, and obviously Marvin Jones was that guy.
I got to check off the Peter Warwick bucket list. I think it was last year.
Yeah, when they came up there to Hotel Indigo.
And tell him thanks for getting the math test delayed because my teacher got hung over watching
Did he laugh?
Yeah, he's like, that's the first I've ever heard anybody say anything like that. So there you go. You're welcome. So I got to cross that off the bucket list. I don't know what's going to be next. I got to find maybe something for Charlie Ward. Although Charlie, I got him to sign the same hat twice. It's back in Palm Harbor. I should have brought it up. But he signed it for me at Countryside Mall in 1994 when he was at a card show.
Wow.
And there were people had New York Knicks stuff and they had Florida State stuff. And then he signed it for me again when I was an undergrad. I knew somebody who worked the Champions Club. So they signed it. He had signed it a second time for me, which I thought was really cool.
Charlie's fun to talk to in that he is how can you be as big a superstar and have the career that he did and to play in the NBA for as long as he did and be so unassuming and just so, unaffected by any of his success in any way, shape, or form. Like, I've never heard Charlie Ward say one thing that could be perceived as self-aggrandizing or braggadocious. I've never heard it.
I might ask him away if you could add one New York Knick to your 93 team against Miami. Who would it be? My money is on Oakley, but he might say Allen Houston. I just wonder who he thinks would be the most beneficial.
That's funny. Pitch Penny Pools and Spas has everything you need for pool maintenance, chemicals, cleaners, pumps, vacuums, nets, covers, of course. And now they've got the cold plunge tubs for all of those folks out there, fitness-oriented folks that have read about, learned about the benefits of the cold plunge. They have Hot Springs hot tubs and Hot Springs cold tubs that you can purchase over there. Go to the place off of Greer Road there. That's the Pinch a Penny you want to go to, the one off of Greer Road. Massive showcase, massive room where you can see every model they have, including Tom's favorite, the Pentagon. That's right.
It's an intense setup you have in the Pentagon there.
It's a Hot Spring Pace Model 5-seater. Little 5-seater hot tub reduced to $8,500 these days, buddy.
It's good for the winter.
Chef Cameron Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
The Gadsden County Sheriff's Office called off its manhunt Monday afternoon for a suspect who escaped custody while in cuffs earlier that day. The manhunt for Cedric Butler began early Monday afternoon after deputies said he was not in custody, but reported to court on charges just before running from the deputy upon transport after the judge remanded him to custody. Butler's escape also prompted the Gadsden County School District to place 5 school campuses under lockdown just before noon. Butler was apprehended a short time after. FSU received a more than $2 million grant to be spent over 4 years, studying the key relationship between hurricanes and forest fires. The first order of business will be developing an AI model that can predict how a storm will impact the fuel load, hopefully translating to real-life use for firefighters. In total, FSU will receive $2.3 million. While the grant runs for 4 years, the team hopes to have an initial AI model up and running within the next few months. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update. Brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Highs level off around 87 this afternoon under partly cloudy skies, northeasterly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Lows dip down to about 68 tonight, clear skies. Tomorrow, high of 85. Partly cloudy skies Friday with highs in the low 80s, chance for storms Saturday. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 84.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future. Hey, Jeff, what's up, buddy? I was just thinking, I never tell you that when you grow up, one of the things that you'll miss are the games that you created with your friends in the neighborhood. Oh, good days. So I would have my buddy come over, and then we'd make up these games that were kind of like a hodgepodge of every game that you've ever played. Kind of like the bikes we built. Correct. Yes. And it's a grand experiment. In the beginning, nobody knows how to play the game, and you argue about what the rules are going to be. And in the end, everybody knows how to play the game. By the end of that summer, you know the rules, the neighborhood know the rules, and you play that game like it's the greatest game ever played.
And they still try to break the rules, right?
Oh, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. But at the end, Eddie, you're never going to play it again, and you'll think about it the rest of your life.
And the best game you ever played was that game.
Never been a better one.
Hey, you want to have a Gordo Smash, Jeff?
I do. I'd like that. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
1-1 in the fifth. Another great game between the Tigers and the Guardians. Braves fire Snitker today. David Ross get a shot there?
Could be. You should text him. Report it.
I should. David, if you're listening, text your boy. Tell me whether or not you got the Braves job, because that'd be cool if you did for a lot of reasons. Selfishly, I'd like that you got that job so that I could drive up there and be treated special. For when my Pirates come to town. And, David played for the Pirates. Not long, but he did. In fact, I'm surprised he's not offered up some of his Pirates gear to me. Yeah, sure, Jeff. I'm going to give you the gear from one of my major league stops. That's what I'm going to do.
All of it. Here it is.
Here, take my Pirates catcher's mask. There you go. It's all yours. I don't need it. Back to Florida State, Miami for a second. We got to get a lot better play at linebacker this week. That's one of the problems when we went back and looked at our play defensively. We talk about misalignment. We talk about some things physically that bothered us defensively. This has been a broken record for us. We don't cover well from that position. And I think certain combinations of linebackers, when they're together, are especially easy to exploit. And when the more you go back and watch, you're like, oh, that's that combo again. Okay. We got to get better there, and we got to recruit better. We got to recruit better there, if I could speak. We got to. I can tell it's Wednesday. I worry about, if you don't get pressure, how many times those guys are going to get exposed.
It's another year in which Omar Graham gets a lot of run, a lot of talk, and then you see the snap counts. And yeah. Alabama, he had 22.
He had 8 plays in this game?
8. Yep. 8. Now, you are going against different schematics, so it might call for different players to be more involved. I would think, for example, Stephon Thompson might be more involved this week against this type of foe. But Omar he was talked about as one of the core 3, and that has just not been the case.
So when Miami does run duo, the lineman double team directly to the linebacker in front of him.
Yep.
So, this is not, you guys can pull up all the definitions. I'm sure for those of you that know the game, you'll say, right, because the other time that you look at a double team, it's in power and you're doing the backside linebacker. And this is the one right in front of them.
Yeah, straight ahead.
It's straight ahead. And so, again, straight ahead is how they want to attack. And that's, hopefully we man enough for it.
Yeah, snap counts this past week. Juice led all linebackers with 58. Elijah Herring, 57. Was really disappointed to see him take a false step on the wheel for the touchdown. I'm sure they went over that time after time.
He's screwed as soon as it happens.
He is. Yeah, you're dead. Well, and also they got us in man for those situations too often. I'm like, man, very frustrating. That was one thing with Tony. I'm going, you don't run a ton of man. How are we in man just at the time
just
that
when they need us to be in man?
Yeah, that's good job by Tony Elliott, I guess.
Great job by Tony Elliott.
It's third and got to have it, fourth and got to have it. You know what they go to when they're in trouble. James Williams, he's counted as a linebacker because he's a combo player, 45 snaps. Blake Nicholson, 36. Stephon Thompson, the Jack, at 25. Jaden Jones at 20. And then A.J. Cottrell had 9, which was one more than Omar Graham's 8.
Yeah, got to recruit better at the position. Definitely got to get some guys you feel real safe with that can play a lot, aren't subject to being exposed in a certain aspect of their game repeatedly. By the way, I was cracking up laughing when we got Gus Malzahn for his recap or a media availability. First of all, that's short and sweet for after a game like this in which you amass more than 500 yards and lose in double overtime. But he has a pattern, and you're good at picking up on speech patterns. I want you to pick up on his standard operation when he's ready to start. He'll usually do the sigh thing. He'll look around, and then he kind of glances up. He's like, everybody ready? And then it's like, oh, and it's now. Here we go. I'm off and running. It is go.
A lot of things that I like there. A couple of things that we didn't do questions. Like the questions is worked into somehow the middle of the previous word, the penultimate word. Questions is kind of wedged in there. We need a big game this week. There's a lot of things that we need to clean up. We look forward to seeing what the challenge might be. Questions.
My favorite part is that it's on a timer, meaning he has decided from the point I've just looked up at you from the dais and triggered the we're going to start now. You've got 5 minutes. You better come with it. Here's my preamble. Here's what I think. Frankly, I'd like to end it right there. And then it's followed up by, but I know you have to be song and dance. So here it comes. And then it's like we're on the clock. It's going to be quick.
Coach, in terms of
that size.
Yeah, obviously that's something that I saw in the tape after, and it's we'll have to address that.
It's the I have disdain for your existence, but I have to answer this. If I could just tell you how stupid I think that question is.
He does the thing also where it's the false eyes. Like, I am interested in what you're saying,
but I'm not at
where
all.
the eyebrows go up.
Yeah.
The eyebrows go up the same way that John Goodman's do when he says, excuse me, dear.
Dear.
It's the same thing. They go up. I'll have to do a side-by-side comparison of that.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And he like leans in with the chin.
He's trying so hard.
I want you to believe I'm listening, even though I already know I'm going to answer it in 5 words.
I'm thinking about the coffee. It's, yeah. He'll also do while you're in mid-question. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He'll give you the, mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm. The sigh. It's me on a road trip when my kids ask to go to the bathroom.
It's coming around the bend on a highway and seeing brake lights.
You're like, oh, yeah, that's it.
Because he'll do the breathe in. He's trying for it not to be audible too, but then he decides, the hell with it. What do I care?
Because he just detests the whole process. And I kind of have grown to love that about him. It just is hilarious. It is. It's me coming over a hill on 75, somewhere near Ocala, going, and my wife glancing over at me, and I'm like, why? Every time. It's Tuesday in the middle of the day. Why am I stuck on a highway?
I can't get by the Ramada without coming to a complete stop.
It's just ridiculous. That's him. He wants to cry because it's just.
One of the answers was so dismissive. It was on the 4th down call, which, I mean, what the hell was that? Essentially is the question. And we all know that's coming.
Yeah, that
he's got to know.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, if it doesn't work, it's a bad call. Like, get the hell out of here.
Don't do that. Yeah.
You know, when it works, it's a good call. When it doesn't, it's a bad call.
No, but that.
What?
No, you're not allowed to do the fallback call the touchdown play mock of fans. Like, there's a time to do that. And we know. We've all been in the stands and heard the fans, and there's a time you're like, oh, you want him to call the touchdown play, do you? You know, I get it. You can't do that when it's an important 4th and 2, and that is the disaster that we see.
I feel like maybe a question worth asking him at a different point. Maybe it's a nondescript week, maybe Stanford week. Like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how pissed off are you still about the 3rd down overtime backside screen call and the throw? $14.
It's hard to watch a play that you've masterfully put in the playbook, drawn up. It's a walk-in touchdown, and it's the perfect time for the call. All you got to do is get the ball there, and you throw it at his feet. It's a toughie. That's
actually, you know what happened on the sideline.
The problem with it is that it's at every level of football. It happens in the pros all the time.
Yeah,
where you'll see a coach dial it up, and the guy's wide open, and he misses him by 20 yards. You're like, well, that was a Or a touchdown. Now, we can't call that play again today.
That was the throw to Squirrel in the first quarter.
Oh, it's unreal.
I'm sure he's like, got him. That's what Gus said. I got him.
Yeah. Oh. It's as bad a throw as you'll see. And it's tough to stomach too. But the problem is, to point that out is a little unfair because he made some NFL throws.
He did.
I mean, Tommy's weird. Yep. He's a weird player that way. There are throws, as inconsistent as he can be at times. He's mostly been very good this year. But there are some throws that he makes where you're like, man, I wish you were 6'2". If you were 6'2", you're going to get drafted because that throw is an NFL throw. That is a backside shoulder laser thrown with anticipation and accuracy on time. Man, that's a beauty.
There's a good shot to see a lot of back shoulders this week. Another important throw he made was on the tying drive. When he scans the field, does not panic, and finds LaWayne McCoy on the right sideline.
Yeah.
That is, you're going to have to do
buying
that.
Buying time.
And also just seeing the picture and finding the gap and finding the receiver. With Miami this weekend, you're going to have to do that because they're going to lay some traps out there, and you're going to have to be composed.
Final hour of the Jeff Cameron Show coming up. Stay with us. We'll be here. 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. Tell you about my friends at Tried and True Consulting, a Seminole-owned business that specializes in payments and business solutions. Tried and True's core expertise includes card, ACH, point of sale, mobile, e-commerce, and hosted payment solutions. Tried and True will help you reduce costs and increase your bottom line. That always sounds nice. Whether you're a retailer, restaurant, licensed professional, or service industry, Tried and True is saving you money. Tried and True's expertise extends to payroll, video menu ad boards, IT services, web design, and social media. It's time to make one call and tell the competition to take it on down the road. Call Don or Joe today at 844-464-6653. That's 844-464-6653. When you do business with Tried and True, they contribute 10% of the net revenue to the battle's end. So go Tried and True today. Call 844-464-6653. Games for Less, Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used games, as well as new and used consoles like Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Atari 2600, PS4, and PS5. You name it. Locally owned and operated since 1994, trade-ins are not only welcome, but Games for Less pays more for your trade-ins than the big chain stores. That's not all. Games for Less now buys and sells new and used vinyl records to boot. George loves the Beatles, by the way. Reserve all the new releases today at Games for Less, conveniently located in the Walmart Supercenter Plaza on Appalachia Parkway.
It's where you raise your kids, where friends become family, where every corner has a story worth telling. It's your neighborhood. At ABC 27, we share those stories, bringing you news that connects communities, builds pride, and reminds us we're part of something bigger. We are ABC 27, in your neighborhood.
Feeling sluggish? Wake up your body the right way with Vigor. The all-new Vigor Cold Plunge Tub from Hot Spring Spas is now available exclusively at Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas in Tallahassee. Boost circulation, reduce inflammation, sharpen your focus, and more. Elite athletes do it daily, and now you can too. Experience the power of cold therapy in your own home. Come see the Vigor Cold Plunge, available only at Pinch a Penny on Capitol Circle Northeast and Greer Road.
Love to compete on the dartboard? Then it's time to head to the CP. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill is Tallahassee's premier dart bar, featuring steel tip boards and soft tip internet play. The Corner Pocket hosts leagues and tournaments regularly. Just check out their social media to find a time that works for you. And in between games, grab a pint to the bite in the cool AC, or enjoy yourself outside on the deck. Whether you want to catch a game or start one of your own, the place to be is the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachia Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
WVFT Gretna, Tallahassee. This is Real Talk 93.3. More of the Jeff Cameron Show is coming up next. Your sports action update on Real Talk 93.3 with all the latest odds from Vegas.
Jacksonville Jaguars hosting Monday Night Football this week against the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs a 3.5-point road favorite. The total has moved from 45.5 to 46.5. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a 3-point road dog at the Seattle Seahawks, 44.5 the total at Lumen Field. Number 9, Texas, visiting Florida on Saturday at the Swamp. Longhorns are the 7-point favorite, 42.5 the total. Gators 7-3 in their last 10 at home against top 10 opponents. Number 3, Miami laying 4.5 at Florida State, 53.5 the total at Doak Campbell Stadium in Tallahassee Saturday. Score $500 in rewards at the GBank First Bet VSiN Trifecta. Details at vsin.com/GBank. For more sports betting news and information, go to vsin.com. Mike Son at Real Talk 93.3.
Progressive knows we all crave validation.
Girl, you are not 37.
I would have guessed 27.
You guys are too sweet.
Sure, dewy skin.
Terrific. Is something wrong, Ned?
Why would you ask? Just because today marks my 10th anniversary without a car accident or even a speeding ticket? But somehow, tonight's all about your skincare.
Wow. With Snapshot from Progressive, you can get a personalized rate based on how you drive. And that's all the validation you need. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Snapshot not available in California or from all agents. Surcharge possible for unsafe driving.
With the new IHOP value menu, $6 is all it takes to go to your happy place. Where stacks of pancakes with bacon and eggs are just $6 every day. French toast, sausage, and eggs are, you guessed it, $6. And fluffy omelets come with a side of pancakes and only cost $6. Go to your happy place every day at IHOP. $7 in some locations. Available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
Florida man, you're all crooked again. What did you do to yourself this time?
Well, we were tailgating before the big game, and I had to defend Hank's honor. Some guy's arm wearing his gold chain and said, "Nice Gator fan." Can you believe that? Hank is a Seminole, thank you very much. But it all went downhill during Flip Cup. Hank was losing bad. The guy starts heckling. He says, "Figures a Gator fan can't flip." The next thing I know, Hank's all over the table and going for the guy's throat. I tried to break it up. I grabbed the keg to end the chaos, and bam, my back went out like a lawn chair in a hurricane. I didn't even make it to the game.
Let me guess, Hank went without you.
Yep, stormed the field after the win.
At Finn Chiropractic, they'll get to the root of your pain and deliver the solutions. Book your appointment online at finchiro.com, and you'll even get an online discount. Visit finchiro.com today and find your path to a pain-free tomorrow.
Some men follow the crowd. Others take the long way, the wayward way. At thewaywardgent.com, we've curated the gear, gadgets, and grit every respectable man needs, from the fairway to the fire pit. We've identified the top-rated Amazon finds, so you don't have to. No fluff, just the good stuff. Visit thewaywardgent.com for the man who's not afraid to live a little off course. Thewaywardgent.com.
Still waiting on that load of laundry to finish? If your dryer is taking forever to dry your clothes, the problem might not be your machine. It could be a clogged dryer vent. J. Walker Enterprises specializes in professional dryer exhaust cleaning, improving dryer efficiency and helping protect your home from a potential fire hazard. Don't risk it. Contact J. Walker Enterprises today and breathe easier knowing your home is safer and your clothes will finally dry on time. Visit jwalkerenterprises.com, the company locals trust.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Always on the mind at this point of the week. I began the show talking about that very thing, how it is that, hey, not sleeping well this week, and I don't know if it's because I'm just anxious or antsy for this game, and I think the answer is probably yes, it is. It's a big game. Even after the loss to Virginia, it's a very, very, very big game. Not just because you and I and anybody with a sound mind hates Miami, but because what's at stake. I'm not ready to give in on what might be a pipe dream. I'm not ready to give in on the idea that Florida State can't win the ACC this year. The win over Alabama kickstarted a belief that just maybe Florida State was much further along in the flip after such a disastrous campaign a year ago than we realized. And, of course, that opened the door to a whole new set of possibilities, including, maybe competing for the league title. And it's not so much that I want to exalt and raise above my head the ACC championship trophy, Tom. It's what comes with it, of course, which is the improbable run from the outhouse to the penthouse of a playoff appearance after going 2-10. And it would be bizarre, but it would be fun. And it's still possible, but it's not possible in all likelihood if you don't win Saturday night. So that's where we sit.
Again, it feels like something from 15 years ago or longer, in that there's no safety net to this game if you want to achieve the highest. But what's wild to me is I think we sometimes need to pause and remember that we were looking for moderate achievement relative to how we feel right now, looking at college football as a whole, the top 25, feeling the weight and the reward of beating Alabama and how it changes what you believe is possible in a season. There's every chance that Florida State wins this game on Saturday. I think it's going to be really interesting in that it could go a bunch of different ways. But it's funny. A month ago, 6 weeks ago, we were looking for 8 or 9 wins and maybe scoring one win of the big 4. Can we get one of them? 2 would be unbelievable. And now you're here on a Wednesday ahead of facing Miami with expectations that you are going to get it done. It's nice. It's a nice feeling, but I think it's also worth reminding ourselves, in case you were to drop this and go to 3-2, that sucks. That would be season over from an ACC championship standpoint, I think. But this group is a lot better. They are a hell of a lot better, and I think they're going to play very well on Saturday.
Did want to mention this. Somebody brought it up in the chat. I will bring it up now. I had planned on doing it last hour, and we got into a different discussion. So I do want to make mention of the good news today. I'm just hesitant, maybe not to share good news, but hesitant to get my hopes up. It's just such a devastating turn of events that happened to this young man that I want to know, that he is out of the woods before we engage in a long conversation about it. But that in no way should prohibit me from at least updating people on the good news surrounding FSU freshman linebacker Ethan Pritchard. You guys know he's the young man who was the victim of violence of the worst kind. He was shot, wrong place, wrong time, in the head. And, it certainly seemed desperate at the time and to some degree still is, but there is positive news on that front. Mike Norvell shared the news that Ethan Pritchard has opened his eyes and blinked. The family shared more good news, saying that, he's moving his arms, turned his head, as well as opened his eyes. I know that Stuart Moore, who's a Florida State graduate, and he's a television sports anchor over in Orlando. He's been sharing news as well. He's been close to this story, and looks like he's getting closer and closer to breathing on his own. Now that's huge. I know the first time that they tried to unhook him from the machines, his body shut down. And that's why I've been hesitant, because I wanted him to get further along in the process if it was possible to be on his own, his body sustaining itself. And it does look like that's now a real possibility. He's closer to breathing on his own. So that's huge news. Obviously, we all keep Ethan in our thoughts and hope that he recovers fully. He's got a long road ahead of him. But I know that a lot of people have reached out to that family. A lot of people have helped that family, as they should, with their medical and travel expenses. I know the GoFundMe has raised over $140,000. So Florida State folks have shown up there. And we continue to hope for the best for Ethan. it's just so tough to pivot from anything there.
Sure.
But that is good news.
But 5 weeks ago to where you are now.
Right. That's a better way of looking at it. You're right.
Well, it's unlikely that you'd be in this position, which is really fortunate that you are in this position. But I don't know. You reflect on it for a long time, and
you get pissed.
Wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah, you get pissed. Yeah, that's what ends up happening to me.
You start to look at outwardly at the universe and go, really?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, you do. I want to go back to something that's far less frustrating, sad, and something that I think could make us happy. I really think, and I don't know how much you think we'll do this, I really think you've got to put a lot of responsibility on Jerry Wilson and Jabril Rawls in this game. I began the show talking about that. I think they can handle it. I don't think that you're not sure they can, huh?
Oh, sorry, my mic's on. That's me pondering the thought.
I think they can handle it. I think you've got to use some of the extra defenders in your favor to create pressure and to stop the run, and just trust that your corners can lock it down.
Of the two, I trust in Jabril more.
I know you do.
Yeah.
I like Jerry showed signs in this last game. I mean, he has a pick six.
Well, Jerry But Jerry within the scheme, no problems. But asking Rondé Barber to cover Terrell Owens and man is one thing. Asking Rondé Barber to man the middle of the field as a slot corner is another.
Well, give Jabril more of the responsibility then, too.
For Tony, for Malachi Tony.
Yeah. Malachi Tony,
I think if it's Jerry on Tony and you're going man-to-man, let's hope that pressure package gets home. It would be my thing. It doesn't mean that you're not going to win on some downs. But also, I think in this day and age of college football, when you go man-to-man, you're putting yourself at risk anyway. There are just so many good athletes. And with the advent, this is part of the evolution of the game, with the advent of 7-on-7 football, these quarterbacks are so ready to diagnose those matchups and hit those throws. I mean, hell, look at what Tommy did last week. And I think even in your mind, in my mind, we've been more critical of Tommy the thrower. He climbs up a notch after some of those throws he made last week. Those are more difficult than the throws he made against Alabama.
I thought so. The problem Tommy has is that he'll just have 2 or 3 of those throws where you're like, God, dog, man, you got to make that one. That's the easy one.
100%, but the capability to see man-to-man coverage and then just go to work on it. I mean, that's if you're a Virginia fan or you're a Miami fan scouting the game, you go, really? Tommy's got that throw? Well, that's problematic for us if we decide to go man-to-man. That's the thing where I feel that's the same type of trepidation, especially if Jerry's that guy. Doesn't mean he can't do it. It's just, of those receivers, Malachi Tony is really fast, and it doesn't mean that he's going in a straight line. If it's a crosser, that's how they racked up their advantage on Notre Dame early. Like, oh, you're just going to give this guy leverage? Well, goodbye. And Beck doesn't need much time to throw that. He knows to pick a point and throw to the point. I think you're going to have to trick him a little bit.
Yeah, and it's all going to start with the other stuff. It's going to start with you being able to slow down and not stop the run and get them in situations where then you can dial up the pressure and confuse him from where it's coming from and do all the games that he likes to run, meaning Tony. And I think that it starts real fundamentally with, can you stop the run? These are 2 big backs. This is a big, strong offensive line. I mentioned how they want to attack you. They're going to run the ball downhill. That's going to always be their DNA as long as Mario Cristobal is there. I like that DNA, by the way, if you can pull it off. It's not easy to do when you face the better teams on your schedule because they all have usually behemoths up front on the defensive line, but we don't fall in that category. We're not Ohio State, so we're going to have to maybe bring a little extra to stack the box, if you will, and get those stops. We did it against Alabama. We were able to shut it down, and then that allowed you to get exotic.
This is one of those games, I think, based upon what Miami saw last week, they'll probably have a couple of more bubbles and flares where they're going to challenge the defensive backs to shed blocks and make tackles. If you're ranking pass targets that I'm worried about, Tony's always going to be there because of the speed, but it's not like Ryan Williams before that game where I go, oh boy, you got to be careful of him.
Yeah.
It's the backs, it's the tight ends. Like those are the guys that I'm actually a little bit more afraid of in case they isolate matchups that they want. And Florida State isn't just in a zone waiting for somebody to collect and then go make the tackle. If they're getting us moving one way or the other and flowing one way or the other because they're able to run the ball a little bit earlier, I'm less afraid of the over-the-top shot than I am isolating on a safety or a linebacker and they've got their back in a situation where they can get an explosive.
And I'm willing to concede that you're going to give up some big plays if you take the chances that I want them to take. And I was that way. I've talked about that before the season. Like, I think Gus wants to play fast. And he wants to run a lot of plays, and we're going to wear people down with the running attack. I want to get the ball back. I'd rather create some turnovers. We finally did. I know we did it zone, but create turnovers and take some chances and bring pressures that expose you a little bit. And if you give up a big play, that's part of it. You can live with it.
What's interesting is, that second pick is obviously you're dropping 8, rushing 3.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do that this week. Beck will wait. He'll just wait. And if nothing's open, he'll take that check down on that release where
and nobody's winning up front, by the way, so he's going to sit there all day.
Absolutely. 3 on 5. I mean, they had 3 on 6.5 there because they left in a tight end as well as quasi max protection. And yet Morris still wasn't composed enough to just take what we were giving them, and he tried to force it and he got burned.
He almost got it in there. I mean, it's actually a cannon.
It's a really good throw, but it's just it's dumb.
You invited the tip in there to get the hand in there.
If it was Tommy that did it, we'd be like, "Oh, that's stupid. What the hell are you doing? You've got a free 10 yards right in front of you. The back is releasing. Just throw it to him. We're all sinking into depth." But Beck won't do that. So I don't think you can rush 3 except for maybe a changeup or an ephus pitch that he's not expecting, because you show a blitz and then you drop 8. But I think, this has to be a game in which, man, you could really spend hours on it on Monday looking at the line of scrimmage, and we bring in 5 and 6-man presentations. And then
I hope we get to do that. I hope we're able to say, look at this. This is why they were befuddled. Look at this. Time and again. For all your commercial and residential roofing and construction needs, make sure you call my friends T-Spark Enterprises, 850-766-1340. They serve North Florida and South Georgia, Tallahassee, Monticello, Havana, Quincy, Crawfordville, Wakulla, Madison, Thomasville, Bainbridge, Cairo. Goodness gracious, they're everywhere. T-Spark Enterprises, that's a guaranteed win. Call T-Spark for your next roofing or construction project. They conquer all peaks. TSparkConstruction.com. or 850-766-1340. And that is license number CGC 1525336, CCC 1331204.
I'm Michael Garrison, third generation here at Metal Roofing Sales of Tallahassee. It's a common misunderstanding that a metal roof is more expensive than a traditional shingle roof. At Metal Roofing Sales of Tallahassee, we'll show you how affordable it really can be. A metal roof far exceeds the durability and lifespan of a shingle roof, saving you thousands of dollars over time. Not only do we have the technology to fabricate and produce the best materials, we have the most experienced contractors to install your roof as well. And we will match or beat any other price in tile. Find us online at metalroofingsales.net. You can trust the 3 generations of service under one roof.
Game day in Tallahassee starts with energy, and nothing fuels that spirit like Grassroots Coffee brand new End Zone Blend.
That's right. Every cup of End Zone Blend doesn't just taste incredible, it also supports our Florida State Seminoles football program.
Grassroots Coffee knows it's about commitment and being all in. Every sip of End Zone Blend helps push the program forward, supporting the grind and the climb.
So whether you're at home, have a business, or just getting fired up before kickoff, make End Zone Blend part of your game plan.
Support local and our favorite coffee roaster. Order Grassroots Coffee's End Zone Blend today at grassrootscoffee.com.
Look at your screen, everybody. And if you're just listening, you'll see that or hear that I'm about to talk about HelloTushy.com. HelloTushy.com. You think, what in the world? And I thought, what in the world? Now, I understand bidets are used the world around and not necessarily all that much in the United States, but that is changing. And here's the deal. I'm an open-minded guy. I wanted to know, well, what's the benefit? Why would I use it? Why would I have a bidet in my house? Why would I don't know. It felt a little weird. I thought it would be a little weird, but there are benefits, and I did know that. I've heard that before. First of all, you reduce itching and irritation and micro tears. They'll tell you that. This is soothing water instead of toilet paper, scratchy toilet paper, or damaging wipes, And that whole process is kind of, when you think about it, it's nasty. It's nasty. And I found out that using a bidet is far more sanitary and actually very, very easy. And so I said, yeah, let's go. Send it to me. Send it to me. We'll try it in the Cameron household. And I have to tell you that it's not just the copy. It's not just what they tell you. It's true that you feel cleaner. You feel better when you get done using the bathroom when you have a bidet in your house. So look, give it a try. You'll be surprised that A, you'll like it. It benefits you. And you are saving tons of money. You use 80% less toilet paper. I mean, I would think that the percentage is higher, but that's what they told me. 80% less toilet paper. And it comes with a 30-day hassle-free return. So if you don't like it, if you're uncertain, you go, I don't know. I don't know about a bidet, Jeff. Well, I can tell you that, A, they sent it to me. It was very easy to set up, took seconds. It works. It's great. But it may not be for you. So if it's not, you can send it back, 30-day hassle-free return. I know people want to know about that. So there you go. You have that option. But I don't think you'll return it. I think you're going to like it. And by the way, I love their call to action. I love this, what I'm about to tell you, because old school Jeff Cameron Show listeners will remember this. Hashtag a-hole. We're bringing it back. We're bringing it back. Remember, a-hole is only a dirty word if you wipe. For a limited time, our listeners get 10% off their first bidet order. You use code WARCHANT at checkout. That's 10% off your first bidet order at HelloTushy.com. Go to HelloTushy.com and remember to use the promo code WARCHANT. You're going to be surprised. I think you're going to like your bidet. HelloTushy.com, promo code WARCHANT.
The Warchant.com multimedia network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
That's my update music, Tom. I was going to give you a little update music for baseball.
Oh, really? So every sport has its own music? That was what again? Can you repeat it? Major League Baseball playoffs update.
That's correct. 1-1 in the seventh. 1-1 in the seventh. Tigers, Guardians, first and third for the Tigers. Nobody out. Uh-oh. Man, I can't believe, and you thought it maybe that I was just saying this in passing, but since they've gone to this format, 2 out of 3 in the wild card round, the winner of game 1 has won every single series. I think it's 12-0 or whatever it is.
That's crazy.
Nobody has come back from down 0-1.
I feel like we did to the Brewers. I guess
You did not.
We were down to our final strike and final out in game 1 of that series when Pete hit the home run. I guess that's what that was.
Yeah.
And just the first game, it wasn't,
And then you went on to win the series.
I sure did.
Yes. Yeah, it's crazy. But game 1 seemingly is everything in these 2 out of 3. I do think that to some degree that has to be a statistical anomaly. It's weird. Also, did you find it odd yesterday that Bruce Bochy got fired?
Yeah.
He just won the effing World Series.
That might be, you saw that the Giants are interested in him. There was a report that came right behind it.
Buster Posey said nay, nay.
Oh, well, Buster said nay, nay.
He
Okay.
said the door is always open here for some sort of role.
Oh.
I don't see us going back that route with Boch as the manager.
So I thought it was strange too, but with the Giants report, I thought maybe he asked out so that he could go, one final ride with the Giants.
It
and then
may
call
be,
it a day.
yeah, it may be that he does want out, and it's just mutually understood. They finished 81-81. They were 500 this year. It was a 3-year run that Bochy had with them, and he won the World Series. It's a pretty good run.
Yeah.
He's the winningest active manager in Major League Baseball, and has been a badass the entirety of his career. One of, quote unquote, one of the greatest managers in baseball history. Well, what is he, a 4-time World Series champion?
Yeah,
He's a 4-time World Series champion. I know that players win those championships in Major League Baseball more than managers, but at some point,
you've been around for enough of them.
Yeah,
you're doing something.
You are. You're doing something right. I don't know if you caught this. Just I love to do this, and it pissed me off a little bit. ESPN has kind of given up on their baseball coverage. They conceded a long time ago. I mean, they continue to roll Carl Ravitch out there, and obviously they didn't renew the contract.
He doesn't know the names of the players half the time.
Last night, it was uncomfortable how many times he had to go back and correct himself for something he said that was erroneous. At one point, and I started jotting him down because it got to be so bountiful. At one point, he said, Well, I think he's at 96 pitches, and then like 4 pitches later, he goes, "I misspoke. He's at 105 pitches."
It's on the screen.
I don't understand. Is the truck just denying him the information? Is he not allowed to look?
Well,
it's there.
You
It's
also
on
have
the screen.
The internal press box thing, which also provides you all of the information that even if it's not on the bug on your actual broadcast screen, you have it 2 or 3 ways. Also, there are ribbon boards in the stadium that provide you information about how many pitches.
Typically,
that's one of the first things I do when I go into the stadium
is to locate.
When we were sitting in Pittsburgh, I'm like, hey, where's your pitch count thing? Because where we were sitting, that's the only thing that was in an awkward spot. So you had to find it. I think it was down the left field line was our best view.
Mm-hmm.
Good Lord.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, look, it's well, here comes Torkelson. His postseason numbers, he's hitting 257 in the postseason with 4 home runs and 17 RBIs. The 1-1, oh, no, I take that back. Torkelson's hitting 289 with 7 home runs and 52 RBIs. He's had a prolific postseason. I mean, like, well, how are we off on that, Carl?
Yeah, there was a game he called earlier this season in which we got 2 pitches into the at-bat, and he didn't realize the guy had been pinch hit for. And so he's saying, I think it was Nimmo was pinch hit for. And he's like, 0-2 to Nimmo. I'm like, buddy, that's a right-hander, and he's stocky. That's Francisco Alvarez.
Yes.
That's not Brandon Nimmo. So what are you doing? Are you reading the newspaper and just guessing what's going on?
Alvarez from Santa Fe, New Mexico. Check that Phoenix. I mean, it's all that's him every other second. I'm like, Carl, can we get it together, man? This is the stuff before the game begins. You got to know.
I know it's not that easy, but I feel like it's not that hard. Those types of things.
Well, here's what I think. I think if you want to be great, nothing's easy. So you're going to go the extra mile and learn the most amount of things you can about each player. You're going to understand all the splits. You're going to understand all the situations. You're going to understand a lot of that. But there's a baseline of good that almost anybody who's got a decent voice and understands pacing and can tell a story should be, because if you work for a major television group like ESPN, they're going to give you, and we know this, I mean, even tangentially, we know this because they would send out emails with stats for days about every single player. You can't possibly not write the story before you ever walk into the booth.
The quality of his broadcast would be acceptable, and fans understand this reference perfectly. Every Tuesday that we go play in Jacksonville, and you're like, does ESPN Plus have it tonight?
Right.
And you're like, okay. Oh, they do. Good. They got the Jacksonville Dolphins feed of this game. It would be acceptable for that. But to be the lead play-by-play broadcaster for ESPN
with a mountain of statistical information passed on to you without you having to lift a finger.
And they've got a guy like Boog Sciambi relegated to 2 or 3 on their staff.
And Boog is the best. Well, but he went on to do the Cubs games. That's what he...
Yeah, but in the playoffs, he's a free agent. He called the Mets-Brewers series last year because it was not the number 1 ticket of the wild card, it's the wild card round that they wanted to broadcast. So we got Boog, and I was like, thank God we didn't get Ravitch. Awesome. We get Boog Sciambi. It is unacceptably awful, and consistently so. He mailed it in forever ago, and it's like they don't care.
Well, they don't care about, but they don't care about baseball. So I mean that part of it is true, and I don't know what he's going to do though. I mean, that's his thing, right? That's his whole deal. I know for a fact they get a mountain of information provided for them by a staff that is going to work diligently to try to make sure that anything you could possibly want to know given a set of circumstances is right in front of you. And that's where, like, I really admire if you, I don't want to impugn anybody here close to home, but like if you are asked to do, well, I'll just say it. If you're the play-by-play baseball, if you're Eric Llewellyn for Florida State, you are not given an awful lot of help in regards to stats and advanced metrics and things like that. You have to do that on your own. And Eric puts in the time to do that. I mean, they give you some things. I'm not saying it's completely devoid of help, but it's not.
No, that's a
It's a really tough
spot.
gig. It's a solo booth, and they're not going to give you a lot of what you would want to be able to tell the story. And so you're going to have to, in addition to being, full-time employed somewhere, you're going to have to do that research on your own. But, if you work for a Major League Baseball team or you work for a network like ESPN, you're getting gobs of information. It could be information overload. You have to sift through all that to figure out what you don't need. You'd have so much information about every player. It's impossible. That's why when I hear mistakes like that in these broadcasts, I'm like, come on, brother.
Well, and also, I'm sure that Coney was in the booth last night too, right? So it's a 3-man booth. You got all the time in the world to prepare the next thing you're going to say if it's not the play-by-play thing. So if it's any analysis whatsoever, one of those two is going to be talking between most every pitch. You got time to set up the things that you want to do. It's like Kenny Albert. The day he retires,
you're going to be.
I'm taking a day off. I'm going to go celebrate. You want to go to CP? We're going to get some drinks.
You and Kenny Albert have been at war for a very long time, Tom.
He doesn't care. He doesn't care, and he'll take plays off in any sport.
Al Michaels' study is the one that is now done. I mean, I do think that you get to a place, it's the hardest thing in the world. Like, there's a difference between, your energy wanes or whatever it might be, but you got to still care and want to be there enough to do a job that's credible and professional. And when you get to a place where you're angry for being paid millions of dollars to cover one football game a week or one baseball game a week, well, then, my man, it's time to take it on down the road. You're rich beyond reason. Go chill. You did it. You had an amazing career. Go golf. Go or whatever it is you like to do. Go lay on the beach in Hawaii. Whatever. You've made all the money Al Michaels is filthy rich. If the day that you get a call about your Thursday night football assignment and you're pissed, you've got to know it's time to go. Like, oh, so you want to give me $1 million a game to cover Detroit versus Baltimore, do you? Yes. Well, I guess. I mean, come on, my man.
It's such an entitled attitude, which is crazy.
By the way, speaking of the NFL and numbers, 26.9 million viewers for that Packers-Cowboys game, that 40-40 tie. I would like to go back to not having ties, first of all. I would like the games to never end in a tie in professional football. I don't care. Have a kicking contest or something absurd at the end of the first overtime.
Maybe 2-point tries.
No, I don't like that either. Keep playing, man. Tough luck. Keep playing. Somebody might die, but we're out here figuring this out. The biggest numbers on the year, by the way, that's the third best in the NFL for viewership this year. Week 2 game between the Eagles and the Chiefs, which was the Super Bowl rematch, averaged 33.8 million viewers. The league's kickoff game between the Cowboys and the Eagles hit 28.3 million viewers despite a 65-minute weather delay. The NFL doesn't fool around. These numbers are crazy. Through the first 4 weeks, NBC is averaging 25.5 million viewers for Sunday Night Football, up 6% from last year. They're up 6%. The best 4-week start in its 20-year history with the primetime showcase.
Remember, the league was dead 10 years ago. People are walking away. It's never going to survive.
League-wide, though, you look at this is the best start in terms of averages, whether you're looking at Monday Night Football and ESPN, and the ABC numbers are supposed to arrive soon. It's crazy. It is the most popular sport in this country by a gazillion miles. Nobody's close.
The most popular television show in this country.
That is a number that College Sports Commission, which runs NIL Go, is creating an anonymous reporting tip line to share information about name, image, and likeness rules violators. Didn't we think this would happen?
Yes.
What are you laughing about?
I like the thought of maybe a coach hiring a hacker to redirect the phone calls to his office. Dabo? No. My name is John, and I'm with the tip line.
Was established this summer to enforce the new rules of the House versus NCAA settlement. Everybody asks about this, is why I'm bringing up. Some of those rules include ensuring no school goes over the new revenue sharing cap. So if you suspect that a school is, you can call NIL Go. It's like Amazon Prime. Yes, NIL go. Can you take a look at Memphis? I just, something doesn't seem right there. Thanks. Nothing even specific. They're just that's all they're getting all the time. This is Keith. I don't know about Old Dominion. That's all I'm saying. What? Keith, you there? Click.
Hi, NIL Go. This is Jim. Coach Calipari? No, not at all. Not at all. I wanted to call about Arkansas, but I'm a little worried now. No, by all means. What do you know that they're doing? We're doing. I mean, they're doing.
Yeah. What are they doing? NIL Go only has 4 full-time employees to manually scrutinize. They have 4 full-time employees to scrutinize all of the deals in NIL in college football to make sure that they're not in violation of the rev share deals. It's unclear how the College Sports Commission would be able to uncover rules violation among schools, collectives, or other NIL entities. So when they get asked about it, like, well, we've got a process. You do you? What is it? Well, we have a clearinghouse. 4 people work at that clearinghouse? Yes. All right, my man. Gotcha. No shenanigans anywhere. Your 4 dutiful NIL Go workers will figure it all out. Come on. That has to be.
How many calls did we have today? 32 and 28 were, you guessed it, Texas Tech. We had 28 Texas Tech phone calls.
I don't believe that. Well, first of all, I don't believe they're trying. That's what it feels like to me. When you got 4 people. 4? Yeah, it's Jack was really gung-ho, so we brought him on. And then he has a friend. And he said he would work. And so
I'll answer the phone.
I mean, that's fine. So that got 2. And then, Becky was always part of the committee. So that's 3 right there. And then we just got this 4th one who applied. So we're good.
He's an intern. We don't have to pay him.
Yeah, no, we're good. We feel like the leadership is in place that we need at this point to vet all of these deals and go from there. That's why I would encourage you all to continue to give to the battle's end, because I think these deals can be whatever they need them to be.
Hey, you can do that and get something in return if you're around College Town on Friday. They're going to Indigo. All worlds converge, which is pretty cool. So Friday night, 6 p.m. It's a ticketed event, but Jordan Travis will be there.
Yes, he will.
I hear
works with the Battle's End.
That's right. He's a Battle's End ambassador now.
That's correct.
Cole Hain and other FSU. Renardo Green's going to be up there.
Nice.
So all that, and you're going to get fed. The cash bar is there, but you're going to get fed for the ticket as well. So if you're over there post CP when you come out and hang out with us
on a Friday night,
and you don't want to be in the mosh pit that is College Town, and you want a nicer view and a more controlled setting, beautiful cars, and a legendary quarterback, you could go that way.
So where are they going to be set up?
7th floor of Hotel Indigo.
Oh, they're going to be there. Okay. Yeah. Nice. Perfect.
Our setup Friday night. Check out Battle's End social media. You'll find the link to the tickets.
It's a busy time right now. I mean, they're finally solidifying a lot of things with the Battles. And we get asked that question a lot on a serious note. Like, should I give? Should I continue to give? And,
yes.
Yes. The answer is yes. And I think the way collectives have gone and what we were learning more and more is that it's big game hunting. But those will be pivotal game-changing players.
Well, it's consolidated now because you're going to have that transfer portal window between January 2nd. Cap is your cap, and the spending is going to be awfully aggressive. And they're going to need your help beyond the rev share that they can distribute at $20.5 million. Yeah, you're going to need a differentiator or 3.
Somehow the Guardians got out of that situation. They've been 2 hit, and they're still in it. It is 1-1 in the 8th. They got out of 1st and 3rd with nobody out. We're in the previous inning.
Is this baseball? I didn't hear the music, as I was wondering.
Oh, yeah.
Major League Baseball playoffs update.
1-1. Tigers, Guardians, they're in the 8th. Bottom of the 2nd, Padres lead the Cubs 1-0.
Major League Baseball playoffs update.
We should actually record that and have it set for tomorrow's show.
Major League Baseball playoffs. Well, I'm going to use the other two because we already have an in and an out. I like that. I like the spacing out of the word update too. It's good because it could be anything else.
I'm going to give you probables here in a few seconds. It'll be come up, and then we'll be back with you. The final segment is probables. It's next. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
News now.
Florida is looking for input on what oyster harvesting in the Apalachicola Bay should look like. The Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission is hosting rural workshops over the next few weeks.
And the game.
.3 local news update brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
Now, here's your Tallahassee weather report.
For the ABC 27 First to Know Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Ryan Gold. A comfortable lunch hour with a mix of sun and clouds. Temperatures will be in the low 80s. Once we head home from work, though, temperatures will be in the mid to upper 80s with the skies still mixed with sun and clouds. We drop down into the upper 60s for tomorrow morning. From the ABC 27 First to Know Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Ryan Gold.
Hey, this is for my homeowner friends out there. You know who you are. When you get your grass cut, you're going to inspect the work, make sure it's good. Get your house painted, check around every corner and edge, make sure that's done right. Get a new roof, gotta get eyes on those shimmering new shingles. Get your septic tank cleaned. Bet you're not popping your head down in there to take a look around. You gotta trust it's done right. I'll make it easy. Go see my friend Greg Miller, Miller Septic. They're my guys. I trust them, and you can too. MillerSeptic.com. That's it. That's the commercial. That's the whole thing. Check them out. It's MillerSeptic.com.
Let me tell you, as a homeowner, I used to dread every rainstorm. Water would flow around the outside of my home, my yard, and the gutters would clog and overflow. I'd have to make sure I had buckets and duct tape ready every time. Then I called New Vision Gutters, and I can see the difference. Now I sleep through the storms. No puddles, no leaks, no clogs, no stress. If you've got water problems, trust me. Call the pros at New Vision Gutters, where they take pride and passion in protecting your most valuable possessions. It's the MVP treatment and the best call I ever made.
Let's be honest, we all have way too much stuff. Maybe your storage closet is full, your garage is full, or the guest bedroom is a mess. Call Southeast Portable Buildings, 580-6400, or visit them online at southeastportablebuildings.com.
This is Brian Kilmeade, and I'm excited to be on the air in the capital city. Be sure to tune into my show. I'll be giving you all the latest news, information, and the truth you demand. The Brian Kilmeade Show is live from 9 till noon, right here on Real Talk 93.3.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Wrapping it up, Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. The whole thing's been live today except for this segment, so I'll get it out of the way. This segment's not live. It was done just before we went live, but I had to do this segment because we got more content. We got more things to do, and I got to get home to do it, and so do the other guys, so this is the way it has to be. Besides, I was going to do the same thing that I'm doing right now anyhow if I was in the studio, which is to say that how great was baseball yesterday? Woo, we got it. We got what we wanted. That was phenomenal. I pity people who don't watch, who aren't into baseball for whatever reason or don't seem to get it. This is not condescending. I don't mean that you don't get it condescendingly. If it's just not your cup of tea, it's not your cup of tea. But, man, if you get it, then you get it. And you know how good that was yesterday. You had tough decisions being made by managers in crucial situations who are under the gun. Some, in my opinion, failed those decisions. Others hit a home run, if you would. Excuse the phrasing. And the game's best players showed up when they had to show up. Like all the stars came out.
Imagine if some of those managers had to decide whether to hit for the pitcher or not. I mean, my God, this game would be too hard for them. It would just be way too hard.
Yeah, it's a great point, Tom. It's a great point. I want to go back. I mean, it's so Tigers Guardians right off the bat was incredible. 2-1, just a remarkable game. It was so fun to watch in every which way.
I did not see a pitch of that game because it was during work hours. But I saw the umpire scorecard today. For the other 3 games, it was within a 10th of a run. Excellent. Right down the middle. For the Tigers game, Detroit was at a 1.27 benefit in terms of the balls and strikes called. And I did see that around the 3rd inning of the game, apparently it was trending, that the umpire was having a tough go.
He was.
But in a 1-run game that came down to even a replay, slide at home plate, all that stuff, looks like the Tigers got the benefit of the call after all the last 6 weeks of steady collapse that they've had within the division.
Well, and, I hate it because that is a fair thing to bring up, but in truth, Skubal was just throwing it on the table. He was incredible yesterday. I mean, you strike out 4. When you're an ace of a reeling team who cost themselves the division by an epic collapse, in large part because of the team that you're facing having hunted you down and clubbed you over the head repeatedly down the stretch, you need that guy to go to the hill and be great. And he struck out 14. 3 hits. He gave up 3 hits and 7. I mean, you strike out 14. It was amazing. And see, Tom, this is where we get to the other part of baseball where managers make good decisions and make bad decisions and get second guessed. I just don't understand what you're doing if you're the Yankees. I am never once you're in the postseason. Now that we've gotten to the postseason, you have to get to the Toronto series, right? You can't. There's no, hey, I'm going to need him next round, so I can't overwork my ace, because we're going to have to pitch him when we get to the next. You got to get to the next round. You have to get to the next round, and your ace is dominating. He gets the first out. Fried gets the first out in the 7th. There's nobody on base. He's been great. And you can say, well, those were a lot of high leverage innings, and, there were men on base. And fine, you can say that if you want. Fried was making all the pitches. He had 102 pitches, not 122 pitches, 102 pitches. 102.
Right. Yeah, and their bullpen has a ERA north of 450 for the season too. So you understand that you're trying to avoid a weakness there. Yeah, with the division series, you can throw your ace in game 2. Is it ideal? No, but you can throw your ace in game 2 if you need the extra rest. I know that you want to get him out there twice, but you can also shorten it and bring him in for a few innings in game 5 if you need to. But if their bullpen was like the Padres bullpen has been built, or the Phillies bullpen has been rebuilt, or I think the Cubs have an especially good one too, then you could understand with the hook. But if your bullpen's pitching to a 450, every out you can get from your starter is invaluable.
Well, you go shutout baseball for 6 1/3 and from Fried, and you turn the ball over, and bless his heart, and I love us some Luke Weaver. We all love Luke Weaver. Would you rather have Fried pitching that inning or Luke Weaver? I hated that Luke gave it up too. And you could tell with Luke, when he starts to struggle to locate the fastball, he's in trouble. And you could just see this. It's going to happen, and it happened. And it's just, man, if I were a Yankee fan, I'd be mad. The other part of this is like, the other side of it is that obviously Boston knows. They're like, no. We paid Crochet a ton of money, and he's going to throw 117 pitches, and he's going to get us through this inning because I don't care about tomorrow.
Well,
the next time you see Crochet could be in March.
Yeah,
you gotta pitch him.
Well, and he's also got the attitude to back that up too. There's a presence that he has. You feel his presence, Jeff.
Yeah.
But yeah, whenever you face the last year, we went through 3 very different teams. Milwaukee was very different than Philly. Was very different than the Dodgers. And it was like, here are the pinch points that you're going to have to win the game. Against the Phillies, for example, it was the bullpen. It was like, if we can chase these starters, it's your ass. And it was. That's how we won that series in the division series. And then the loss in the championship series was We have to get our runs in the first five and a third innings, because if they can get into the 7th or the 8th with their bullpen, you're screwed. That's your ball game. And the 2 games we won, we did it. The other games we lost, man, no, their starter got them into the 5th or the 6th with no problem. With the Yankees, it's can you chase their guy? Can you just chase their first guy? If you do, you're going to be in a pretty good spot. And I think that's what today is going to come down to as well.
I was just thinking that, this is so good for baseball. I was looking at the numbers. The ratings were through the roof over the last month of the season, and they're huge again through day one of baseball. They've gotten all their cool things that they want. I mean, like even last night late. Now I went to bed once it got to be 5-0, Tom. But Shohei Ohtani goes yard in Los Angeles in the first inning off 100 green, and he hits it 118 miles per hour. It's like the biggest star in the game, and his first at bat in the postseason this year against a flamethrower, turns it around at 118 miles per hour, and then later, for good measure, hits one 453 feet because that's who the hell he is. Man, it's crazy.
I didn't even realize he had a second one, but I saw that song. I saw that song and dance last year. He had a couple of leadoff bombs in the 6-game series, and it's annoying. It's really annoying. And when you're the Reds, you can't really be getting into anything beyond 5-4. And 5-4 is kind of stretching it, I feel like, for Cincinnati. It also is something that when I see that a guy like he is locked in, makes me feel a little bit better about the collapse. You never want to collapse. You never want to go through a 2-month downswing and miss the postseason by 1 game. But, we were going to be facing the Dodgers. So you watch that happen. You're like, I don't think we were going to beat them.
No, I don't think you would have beat them. And I think the lone thing that, and I'm not, you're a Mets fan. You're a through and through Mets fan. And I like the Mets. I got family history with that, and I've told you about that. You know that. But I don't hate the Mets. I root for them to do well. I would say that if I were being critical of the Mets, it's like, well, you can't have that collapse with a $400 million payroll. You can't.
No, you can. You can. I mean, they did. Look, they threw a lot of their money behind guys that they thought were going to be 6-inning starters, and they weren't. And the thing is, what's funny is my anger happened months ago. Like,
oh, sure. When you realized who they were. Yeah. Once you realized who they were. Yeah.
When I was complaining to you on a probable segment in early August, when I'm saying, do you know outside of David Peterson, nobody's pitched into the 5th inning since the 6th inning since like Memorial Day? And like that just never stopped. It kept going.
You know how you and I always point out to each other, like in private, that people tell on themselves because of their social media. So they'll tell on themselves on Facebook, they'll tell on themselves on Twitter, and they'll reveal these aspects of themselves that you're like, oh, you hate to see that. That's unfortunate. He's a bigot. But anyhow, like these things happen. And like baseball teams telling themselves too, where you're sitting there and you're like, oh, you're not good. We can't win this thing. You sons of bitches. We can't pitch. Okay. Took me 87 games, but I got it. Like I had to learn the tough lesson when the Pirates can really pitch. But about 50 games in, I'm like, oh well, it won't matter because we can't score. We can't score runs. This is we're done.
Yes, yeah. The overhaul is for the starting pitching staff because they were so good. They were like Major League Baseball best in ERA for the first 6 weeks, which I knew was an outlier. But it's buying you time until your guys get healthy. Right. You're like, all right, well, the cavalry is coming. Sanga's going to get healthy. Manaea is going to get healthy. And then they both enter the rotation and they suck. And you go, okay, well, we got nothing then. There's absolutely nothing here. And
okay, we have nothing.
Unless we turn into a 1990s Division I college team and we pump out 8 to 10 runs a game, that we ain't going anywhere.
Yeah, you needed to be the 27 Yankees. Like, you needed to start hitting home runs around every turn.
They were, and they still went 6 games under 500.
Let's do some probables and tell you who's on the hill for today's matchups. If they're any good at all, like yesterday, man, what a boon for baseball. That was awesome yesterday. Cue it up.
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching probables?
Well, I mean, in theory, everybody who won yesterday has already won the series. Because statistically, since they've gone to this format, winner of game 1 has won every one of the series. That's true. They have. Like, you are screwed when you lose game 1. But I think that statistic is a bit of an outlier here. I think we're gonna maybe get some 3-game series. I hope that we do. I think case in point might be Cleveland today. I may money line the Guardians. Anyhow, Casey Mize is on the hill for Detroit. Tanner Bibby is on the hill for Cleveland. That game's on right now. Padres, Cubs are starting right now. Dylan Cease and Andrew Kittredge. Red Sox, Yankees tonight. Woo, high drama. Brian Bayo goes for the Red Sox. Carlos Rodon going for the Yankees. And then Reds, Dodgers tonight. Yeah, you don't have much hope for the Reds. We'll see. Zach Littell goes for them, and Yoshinobu Yamamoto going for the Dodgers. And that is a look at those that shall reside on the bump. Come on, man. Give me besides the Yankees, give me every game one loser to win today so that we can get a third game. I want a third game out of this. When you don't have a dog in the fight, you just root for every single series to go the distance.
So, yeah, you could do this right now because we're recording this at just after 12:30 p.m. Ahead of the third hour of the show. You could do the crack parlay and do 4 teams. 4 teams. Choose all the 0-1s.
Yeah, just go for it. Throw pizza money.
We are going to 4-game threes. And people will nod to themselves driving around town. And Jeff made a lot of money.
I could sprinkle pizza money, but I'm rooting against my own interests. Not that I haven't bet on that before, but I'm really rooting for Boston to knock the Yankees out of the playoffs in the wild card round at $400 million or whatever they're spending. Plus, the devastation of those fans really delights my heart. Good work, sir. Yeah, we had a good show today. I'm going to bet that we did. I'm going to bet that we had a great show today. Be well, everybody. We'll talk to you tomorrow on a Redemption Thursday where we'll keep the wagers rolling. Be good. Peace.